Kickoff of the night for Westwood. First one ended up in Bradley's mitts. The second one goes to Winston October. Bombers special teams. Ball is loose. Edmonton on it. Loose again. Who's got it? Under the pile.
Oh, baby. We barely got this game started. We've seen 2 touchdowns. We've seen a player ejection. Winnipeg takes the football on the fumble and turnover from Winston October.
An ex-Eskimo comes up with it. Rylan Wickman creates the problem down there.
Well, and I believe Maurice Kelly was involved as well. There's Maurice Kelly over the top. He gets the start. He's back in the lineup. He missed last week's game versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He's back in there.
Musica had it for a second.
Troy Mills had a chance. Now let's go back to the touchdown. Mike Sellers, Benedict Abissi, and Matt Sheridan get a nice block at the point of attack. Sellers wins the battle with Shannon Garrett at the goal line.
Here the Bombers set up at the Eskimos 7 again. Whistle down. The handoff went to Mike Sellers.
You better not go and get any Fritos right now. I'm telling you, this game has got...
Who got that phone, bro? You can't steal it from me. Where they going to fight to get that bitch? Woo, I'm off. You coming back? Fuck this. Ain't no secret, baby. Ain't no secret.
Play after play. Big play after big play. Winston October was dancing a bit back there, and he was hit by Maurice Kelly. Ball popped out. Winnipeg has a golden opportunity right now.
It was a procedure call against the Bombers, so they're backed up now outside the 10. First down from there. They need to get to the end zone. Batted down. Glenn Young got a hand on that one. It's Pat Barnes at the control for the Bombers with Kahari Jones headset on, watching from the sidelines.
The good news for Pat Barnes is that he did take a lot of the first team reps this week in practice. They knew that Kahari Jones' ankle was bad. They were hoping it would come around, but Pat Barnes did get a lot of the #1 reps. I talked to him about an hour before the game. He hadn't been told at that point, but a half an hour later, Dave Ritchie made the decision. It was going to be Barnes.
Now Barnes looks at 2nd and goal from the Eskimo 12. Shotgun Winnipeg. Barnes looks to escape. He won't get away. Lucky that he didn't lose the ball. Kelvin Kinney was there. So the Bombers will settle for a field goal try as Westwood trots onto the field.
Kelvin Kinney gets the initial pressure up the middle, and he's the guy who really flushes Pat Barnes back up in. He runs a stunt underneath. Now you can see Barnes has to step up. And there's Kelvin Kinney now that just throws him to the ground with his big, strong right arm.
Here's Troy Westwood. Good on 78% on the season. He's got another one. And the Bombers, who started in a big hole, all of a sudden have the lead. Do you believe it? Welcome back to Edmonton. Ricky Ray is the Eskimos nominee as the CFL's most outstanding player this year. He's been on a great streak lately. The Eskimos have won 7 straight in the friendly confines of Commonwealth Stadium.
The #1 completion percentage in Canadian football heading into this week.
And this is the first opportunity with 10:55 to go in the opening quarter that Ricky Ray gets his hands on the football, looking deep. He's got his man. It'll be a first down at the 35 as Ray hooks up with Jason Tucker. That's a great combination, and it goes for 40 yards.
It really is, and Ricky Ray, one of the best in the business at throwing the deep ball. He drops back, puts nice air onto this football, and Jason Tucker, the guy in between. Ed Hervey's got all the speed. Terry Vaughn does everything after the catch. Tucker's got a little of both.
Eskimos, first down, Blue Bomber 35. Shotgun for Ray, good fake. Moving to the far side, he'll turn the corner. And that's another Edmonton first down. So Ray puts together back-to-back first downs, and Terry Ray, the ex-Eskimo, runs him out. Ray has a super receiving core with Hervey, Tucker, and Terry Vaughn. A solid running game with Pringle closing in on 1,300 yards. Up front Bruce Beaton is the anchor of the offensive line that has allowed the fewest sacks in the CFL this season, just 23. Shotgun again. Ray gets a little heat, looks to the corner. No chance. Up and over. Troy Mills was the intended receiver.
And he was upended by the advertisement. Fortunate that Troy Mills wasn't injured over in that corner of the end zone, because those advertisements are sort of accordion-like, in they're supposed to just collapse on impact if the player gets real close to them. And that one really didn't. Troy Mills to the right of your screen, 33, just leaks out of the backfield. He's going to run out to the sideline, then wheel it down that white stripe. Now watch how that sign just upends him and doesn't quite collapse the way it's supposed to.
Here are the Eskimos, 2nd and 10. At the 20. Vaughn is the receiver. Coverage is too tight, no flags. It's Harold Nash, stride for stride with Terry Vaughn.
Harold Nash came off his short zone, and he dropped back to help out Dave Donaldson in the deep area and makes a play on the football. Very close to screening the receiver, but he didn't. Here's Harold Nash. Dave Donaldson, you see Dave Donaldson right there in coverage. Now Harold Nash, he just falls off his guy and reads the play. That's the veteran in Harold Nash. 10 years in the Canadian Football League. He shows his veteran savvy right there.
Sean Fleming gets his opportunity to match Troy Westwood. Good on 80% of his tries, 28 of 35 on the season. And he hammers this one. We're even again. It's 10-10. What an opening at Commonwealth tonight.
Well, yeah, and now everybody that's watching at home, I would just suggest to just breathe. Let's just breathe. Let's take a big, deep breath collectively and regroup. 10-10, and we've seen big play after big play. Marcus Howell, Jason Tucker in the receiving corps for both teams. The opening kickoff brought back by Mike Bradley. We've seen the backup quarterback, Pat Barnes, get involved with a touchdown. Kahari Jones on the bench with the headset because of an ankle injury.
Talk about taking a deep breath. How about Dave Ritchie grabbing a little breath here, because there's been a little pressure on the Blue Bomber head coach for his team's performance of late. Winnipeg from the 35, first down. This is Roberts for about 5.
Kahari Jones said that he'd like to have played tonight, and players will always say that, but it's up to the training staff. Here's how he was hurt last week versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Rolling to his left. Now, there was some question that we had whether or not Johnny Scott was pushed in to Kahari Jones from Dan Getvig. Looked like Getvig made a little early contact. Dave Ritchie called it a cheap shot, and his quarterback will watch this one.
2nd and 5. This is Pat Barnes for Winnipeg. Couldn't find anyone.
Boy, and he had time. You know, this is a makeshift offensive line for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, a position in an area that they have had trouble with all year due to injury. They've gone through 3 different left tackles, but this time they hang in there and they give Pat Barnes lots of time to throw. See Benedict Abissi in the middle, number 51, Moelo Anibi helping out from the center. You can see that Pat Barnes has tons of time to sit in there and throw the football, just didn't have an open receiver.
Troy Westwood back at his 25. Winston October waits at his 25 for the Eskimos. Here's October, wrapped up neatly after a 5-yard return by Mike Sellers. 1st and 10 Eskimos when we come back to Commonwealth. John Wells and Glenn Suter upstairs at Commonwealth in Edmonton. Ken Chillibeck and Ryan Rashog patrolling the sidelines for this one tonight. Ryan?
Guys, Ricky Ray is having a fantastic year, but he'll be the first to tell you he wouldn't put up those kind of numbers without a great supporting cast. Terry Vaughn is having a whale of a year. He's just 4 catches away from 100 this season. He's never done that before. He's also just 86 yards away from a career best. He's been fantastic, and he was a big part of the reason that Ricky has too.
This is Pringle getting his hands on the ball, and Mike Pringle is brought down by Eric Wilson, who becomes a rather interesting story in this one. He was an offensive lineman last week, and he's playing on defense this week.
Yeah, and he can play both sides of the ball and start at both sides. But you talk about Terry Vaughn now, and every quarterback needs that one guy. Dave Dickinson has G-Roy Simon. Anthony Calvillo has Copeland and Cahoon. He has two. Well, Terry Vaughn is the guy for Ricky Ray.
Mike Pringle picked up 13. First down. Ray hit as he tried to unload.
Take a look at that Winnipeg defensive front seven. You mentioned it, John, the change up front. Eric Wilson moves inside from the offensive line due to the injury to Inoki Brechterfield. And then the secondary, pretty much the same as last week. Tim Carter had a big game versus Hamilton, so they'll leave it just like that with Carter inside. Harold Nash, the veteran, out on the corner, moves from his inside spot.
And Eric Wilson, as mentioned, played right guard last week for the Blue Bombers. Second and 10 Eskimos in a 10-10 tie. Nobody home for Ray that time.
Well, and the pressure on this Winnipeg defense is going to be the front four, because in order for the defense to have success against Ricky Ray, you have to have pressure with just four. Because if you start sending blitz, then the receivers, Terry Vaughn, Jason Tucker, and that group, they can start getting that one-on-one matchup they look for. So the pressure is on Doug Brown, Denny Fortney, Eric Wilson, and their outstanding defensive player nominee, David Benefield. If they can get pressure with four like they did on that last 2 and out, they will have success tonight.
Sean Fleming is ready on third down. Charles Roberts awaits at the 21 for Winnipeg. Footing a problem. Roberts turned the corner for 3 on the return, and that's it. Run out by Roger Reinson. First down for the Bombers goes nowhere as Pat Barnes couldn't find a target. So it'll be 2nd and 10, Winnipeg beginning this drive back at the 25.
I mentioned Winnipeg had Pat Barnes take most of the first team reps. Now, a couple of things have happened over the last couple of weeks with this Winnipeg offense. Number one, Dave Ritchie's become more involved on the offensive side of the ball. Number two, Paul LaPolice, the offensive coordinator, has shortened that playbook.
Barnes on second down finds the release valve. And they'll turn this into a first down by Mike Sellers.
And what he's done there, Paul LaPolice, what they did is they went back and they did some self-scouting. This is something that good teams do often, and they'll pick the first third of the season. Then they'll go at the halfway point, and then in the second half of the season, you self-scout. What are our best 20 plays that we've run this year? Let's take those 20 and let's run them to death tonight. And that's what Paul LaPolice wants to do tonight.
Mike Sellers has a 14-yard gain. This is Roberts. Charles Roberts. Well, short of a first down, about 5, maybe 6 yards for Roberts on the far side.
And I guarantee you that Charles Roberts, in those 20 plays, Charles Roberts is probably involved in 15 of them. Charles Roberts leads the league in rushing heading into this week of play. And number 2 is the guy on the other sideline, Mike Pringle. But Roberts also leads in combined yards and yards from the line of scrimmage.
He is the Bombers' nominee as the outstanding player so far. 2nd and 4, Winnipeg. Barnes looks to put it up. And he's down. Dropped at the 35. Celebrating the sack, Albert Reese.
Here's maybe an example of the quarterback in Pat Barnes that hasn't seen as many reps, becoming a little impatient rather than take the easy one. And the easy one was going to be Charles Roberts right here cutting across the middle. If he dumps that off, Roberts probably picks up 7-8 yards. Instead, he's trying to be a little bit too greedy, look down the field. You saw number 1 flash in front of your screen coming across the pitcher. He takes that quick dump pass, they pick up good yards. He tried to look deep down the field and got in trouble.
Charge was on, and Westwood just got it away. Winston October lost his footing at the 35. Wade Miller led the tacklers that time. It's a 10-10 tie at Commonwealth in Edmonton. Eskimos 1st and 10 at the 37. They'll keep it on the ground. Behind Beaton.
You know,
Mike
John,
Pringle.
Ricky Ray has done something that not many of the great, in fact, none of the great quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League in its history have really done. First of all, he's on pace for a record in completion percentage. That's number one. This is his sophomore season at 23 years old. When he took the reins, he just excelled. Not many quarterbacks have done that in the history of this game.
Eskimos are looking at 2nd and 6. Heats on. Ray can't get it away, and then it's tipped right into the hands of Terry Vaughn. Eskimos turn it into a big play.
Well, and he got a little lucky here, but
and you do have to get a little lucky sometimes.
Well, you do, but he got a little lucky, but he did it because of his composure. Ricky Ray's going to drop back. He's got tremendous pressure from Lamar McGriggs. Composure allows him to spot Terry Vaughn. Now, he got lucky because Brian Clark could have knocked that ball down. He got a little unlucky. It bounced off his hands. McGriggs coming right here, and he's the guy who's going to provide the pressure right up the middle, but the composure of Ricky Ray is the reason that this play is successful.
He took a hit, got it away for a 24-yard gain. Ray has it up again, and missing on the far side, looking for Jason Tucker, who already has one big catch for Edmonton tonight.
You just continue that thought with Ricky Ray. You look through the history, and you just take the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the CFL in yardage. Damon Allen apprenticed behind Matt Dunnigan. Ron Lancaster was behind Russ Jackson. Matt Dunnigan went through the Edmonton system behind Warren Moon and guys like that. Danny McManus didn't start for 4 years. That's your tops. Those are the top 4 in Canadian football history. Ricky Ray just stepped in and played like a veteran.
Had an opportunity, took advantage of that. And he is the Eskimo nominee as the most outstanding player. Under some pressure there. And he fired it well short of any intended receiver. The coverage was a little tight. Eric Wilson was in his face.
Well, and this is the key. We mentioned it earlier for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. If they can get pressure with that front 4. Now, they're going to send Brian Clark as well for just a little bit of help. That's not a blitz. That's a stunt. That's one extra. So it's 5-on-5 in the pass rush. And you can see the pressure applied. Doug Brown is involved. He's up in there. And there's Eric Wilson. And Doug Brown said to us before the game, he said, you watch Eric Wilson on defense. This guy is special. He can get it done. He's a bull rusher.
3rd down. Sean Fleming is in. High. And into the corner for Roberts. This one might go into the end zone and roll through. Roberts goes down and draws a no yards flag there in the end zone.
Why did we do that? They get on the 15.
Count one more for the Eskimos, a point they didn't necessarily need at that point. Here's Ken Chillibeck.
Thank you very much, John. The decision to start Pat Barnes was made about an hour before game time, but that doesn't mean that Kahari Jones might not get in the game. Apparently, he is still okay in case they need him. So he's on the bench, but if they need him in this game, he'll be in there. So that's the status right now here, guys.
Yeah, and he said that he wanted to play, too. I mean, and players will do that. There's a 3-way conversation that goes on when a guy is nicked coming into a game. Number one, the player has to make a decision, and Kahari Jones said he was ready. The training staff and the doctors have to have some input. Is it just the player thinking with his heart, not with his head? And then the coach makes the final decision.
So it is Pat Barnes who has driven the Bombers for 10 points so far. Bobbled it there as a target far side, and a flag goes down, not in the area of the catch, back around midfield. Marcus Howell had the first huge play for the Bombers tonight.
Well, and if you're just joining us, the Edmonton Eskimos, Daryl Crutchfield, has been thrown out of this football game. Was in the first defensive series.
Face mask, Edmonton 26, 1st down.
That penalty goes against Donnie Brady. So Fabian Burke, the backup defensive back now, will go onto the field and play on the corner. So he's going to line up there.
And if you're just joining us, Mike Bradley took the opening kickoff 92 yards for a touchdown. The Blue Bombers matched that. Mike Sellers on a drive for a 5-yard touchdown to make it 7-7. Here's Roberts Roberts looking for a block, flag down. And Roberts is dropped in his tracks. Nice tackle by Quincy Coleman. 36 seconds left in the opening quarter, and it feels like we should be closing in on a halftime for all we've seen.
Well, there's been lots of action, both sides of the ball. This play to Roberts is going to come back. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers will be called for holding on this play.
Holding, Winnipeg 64. First down repeating.
Center Mo Eluanibi, and he was trying to work on Kelvin Kinney. And the reason I know that for sure is that Kinney stood up immediately and made the holding signal. You know, defensive linemen, they don't know not a whole lot about the referee's signals, but they do know the holding signal.
They know holding.
That's the first one they learn, so that when they are held, they get up and they give the ref the holding signal.
Yeah, they've forgotten the offside signal, but they know holding. Bombers at 1st and 20 here. Barnes will get some heat. Steps up. Had a target. Catchable ball. Reggie Jones, who gets to start in this one with Robert Gordon injured and on the sideline. So the Bombers are without their starting quarterback and their second leading receiver coming into this one.
And that puts more pressure on Milt Stegall. And it's been a tough year for Milt Stegall. And it's interesting when you look at Steagall's numbers. He should get over 1,000 yards. I mean,
that's guaranteed. He's at 983.
983. So a couple of catches. He's over 1,000 yards, maybe just one. But it's been a tough 1,000 yards for Milt Stegall.
Well, he hasn't been as dominant a receiver as he was last year. Here it is, 2nd and 20. Barnes slip. Has Roberts onto the coverage. Roberts spins. And he gets about 11 yards back, but still a kicking situation as Ryland Wickman made the stop there. When you look at Milt Stegall's year last year, 23 touchdowns. He has 11 so far this season with a game and a half to go. That's the end of the opening quarter. Lots of action for the guys back there to chat about. Take it away.
Thanks a lot, guys. So it's a one-point game after a fairly eventful first quarter. You know, Kahari Jones, since he took over the starting job in Winnipeg in the summer of 2000, has never missed a start due to injury. This is the first time, and so a big spot for Pat Barnes to be in there.
Yeah,
Chelsea.
you know, I really feel for Pat Barnes because, you know, he prepared all week as the starter. He got the vast majority of the reps in the football game, and he has to be ready to go. But there's something about knowing that you're the guy that kind of elevates your game, elevates your concentration. When you're in that gray area and you don't know, hey, you have a hard time figuring things out as instantaneously as he has to. I mean, there's practice speed and there's game speed. And you watch the second quarter, Pat Barnes will be better because he's adjusting to the game speed. You can't duplicate game speed in practices,
Chris, that's the biggest point you made right there is game speed. You got to practice like you want to play, and you're always trying to make that happen. But that's Pat Barnes' job, is to go out there. He's one play from starting every week, and he's doing his job, and he's doing it quite well. But let me talk about Ricky Ray. This guy's in the race for most outstanding player in the league, and this is a very underrated part of his game. Let's watch Terry Vaughn. He's the off-back right here. Watch what happens. He will come across the field. Ricky will fake to the back, and now all they're doing is run a little pattern. Run a little clear out here, run this little flood route, and then you'll see Vaughn go here. Ray, he fakes. He doesn't have the edge, so what he does is he pumps inside and he gets around and gets about 15 yards here. Ricky Ray averages 5.4 yards per carry. Dickinson, he averages 7.6. Calvillo, 3.8. And the other quarterback in the race is Kerry Joseph. He's got 7.7. All these guys can tote the rock with their feet, and we saw that in Ricky Ray right there.
A little bit like you could, Matty, when you played.
I was running scared, Jock. I had no idea what I was doing.
Well, you know, I think actually Winnipeg had the right idea. They managed to keep the ball out of Ricky Ray's hands for the first 17 points of the ball game, and that's not something you see very often. I'm watching the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and I'm thinking to myself, which Blue Bomber football team are we going to see show up tonight? And you know what? I think we're seeing a livelier Blue Bomber football team. They lost 3 in a row and then had a dismal performance last week against Hamilton. And I think this is a crucial point in the season for these guys. And what I'm seeing is guys that are obviously have come to play, have pressure on these guys, and they're responding.
Especially when you get the opening kickoff returned on you like that in a tough place like Edmonton. But they have bounced back nicely. Back to Commonwealth for the second quarter.
Good point by Jock there. This Bomber team playing with a little more inspiration. Here's Westwood's kick. Coming down inside the 10. Winston October has had a little bit of difficulty with his footing out there. 7 yards on that return, and Ryland Wickman leading the Blue Bomber tacklers there. We've talked about him a couple of times tonight, no question about that.
Talked to Danny Machocha before the game about how dominant the Edmonton Eskimos have been here at Commonwealth Stadium. 7 consecutive wins after losing their first game here to the Montreal Alouettes. They averaged 42 points a game, allowed just 18.6, and Ricky Ray just on fire here at Commonwealth with 20 touchdown passes, averaging 300 yards or close to it. There's their offensive numbers. Strict, just dominant at home. Difference of 135 yards, as a matter of fact, at home as opposed to on the road for the Edmonton Eskimos.
On first down, Ray has a target on the near side. Troy Mills makes the catch there, and we'll have a first down.
Take one more look at those numbers. When you look at the rushing yards, and you see 139 yards. They rush at home on average, 95 on the road. See how that drops. Passing yards, of course, that's up as well. 38 touchdowns offensively at home to just 15. And that is dominant. Now, every team plays a little bit better at home. There's no question. You're sleeping in your own bed and all of that. But this team is dominant at home.
Here the Eskimos with another first down just inside the Edmonton 30. Ray, far side, has his man. Coverage supplied in a hurry on Scott Robinson as he was hit almost as he caught the ball, and the gain is limited to about 4 yards. Well, Lewis got over there.
The score is close, and the numbers are close after a quarter of play. 5 first downs to 4. You can see the passing yards just 10 yards apart, and the rushing yards bang on. So time of possession also very, very close. The only real advantage is Edmonton has a couple of sacks.
Second and 6, Eskimos. Ray got it away in a hurry. It was tipped, but it still got through to Terry Vaughn. And he was hit hard after making the catch. It's enough for a first down. Harold Nash was there to cover on Vaughn.
Well, that one tipped again. Vaughn has caught a couple of tipped balls now. Remember, once the ball is tipped at the line of scrimmage, it becomes a free ball, so pass interference is wiped. And no one around Terry Vaughn until David Benefield put a pretty solid hit on the back of Terry Vaughn.
Scott Robinson flanks to the far side. Mills in motion. Ricky Ray stands in. Now has to escape, and Ray running for another Eskimo first down. Somehow, Ricky Ray found a way to escape. Penalty marker is down, however. It'll be a 14-yard gain if it stands.
This is maybe another underrated part of Ricky Ray's game, his ability to avoid the rush and his ability to run for a first down if he has to. Not known as a runner. He averages just over 5 yards rushing.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Winnipeg number 20. Penalties declined. First down.
That was well away from the play, and watch Ricky Ray with the little Houdini move here.
Well, yeah, Ricky Ray doesn't like anything to the front side of the formation, so he pulls it down. And let's give a little credit to the big guys up front, too. Offensive line that leads the league in sacks allowed. And they had to work a long time on that play.
Right at midfield. Edmonton first down. Pringle has his biggest run of the night. And at the other end, the Blue Bomber pays for that. It's Maurice Kelly as Pringle ran him down.
I'll tell you what, there is a little Mike Pringle for you folks. That's Mike Pringle at his very best. Mike Pringle right here in the backfield. Little draw play in the shotgun formation. Nice hole opened up from the offensive line, but watch the hit on Maurice Kelly.
$14 for Pringle, first down Edmonton. Now at the Bomber 41. Shotgun. Nice fake. And he passes for Pringle. Down to the 35. Kelly again. Mike Pringle has done everything the Eskimos thought he might be able to do, rushing for over 1,200 yards on the season. 5 100-yard games.
A lot of people, well, some people, I should say, gave up on Mike Pringle. And if you had talk to a running back in training camp and you say, look, we're going to sign you to a contract. What can you contribute? And he says, well, I can get you about 1,000 yards, for about 1,200. Yeah, put him on the dotted line immediately.
Gain of 6, 2nd and 4. And a flag flies back in the Blue Bombers secondary. It's Pringle carrying again.
Well, the other thing I will do if you sign me to a contract is I will bring a level of intensity to the game that you probably haven't seen from many players. And that's what Mike Pringle does bring. We saw him explode into Maurice Kelly. And that's how he plays the game.
Too many men. Winnipeg.
Costly error.
And sometimes when you play against Mike Pringle, you want to throw an extra guy out there to try and find a way to stop him.
And even with 13, they
didn't stop him there either.
So this Eskimo drive continues. Edmonton now at the 25.
Climbing up the list, very close to George Reed. Should pass George Reed about halfway through next season. There are the numbers. George Reed with 16,116 yards, and there's Mike Pringle climbing up that ladder.
Winston October. Ray is using everyone.
You know, Ricky Ray has seen some pressure tonight from the Winnipeg front four, but that game last week that they played versus, or it was a while back now, against the Montreal Alouettes in Montreal, the first time they beat Montreal in 5 starts, going back to the Grey Cup game a year ago, Ricky Ray saw a lot of pressure. And he learned something from that game against the Montreal Alouettes, and he's showing great composure here against some pressure from Winnipeg.
This is 2nd and 7, the 9th play of this Eskimo drive. Ray bought a little time. He has Tucker. Touchdown. Troy Mills for the touchdown.
Somehow Ricky Ray knew that imaginary time clock in his head was starting to run out, and he went to his safety valve. Troy Mills out of the backfield. Troy Mills is right here. Watch how he releases. No blitz comes, but you see the pressure from the backside closing in on Ricky Ray. He could feel that pressure. He went to his release valve, and Troy Mills did the rest.
A 10-play drive ends with a touchdown to Troy Mills from 22 yards out. It's the Eskimos celebrating another touchdown. They have an 8-point advantage. We're on the road again Sunday. Saskatchewan at Calgary. The Stampeders soap opera continues with 2 games to go. The Riders still have a chance to host a playoff game for the first time since Suter was a pup.
That was a while. That was 88 was the last time.
So the Riders are still in the scramble for a playoff spot.
We played the BC Lions and got it handed to us in '88.
That's Jones returning for the Bombers. He's to the 28-yard line, and Roger Reinson leads the tacklers there. Mills has the latest Eskimo touchdown, an impressive drive.
9 plays and 95 yards. It doesn't get much more impressive than that when you cover 95 yards of field, and once again showing that offensive dominance here on the natural grass at Commonwealth Stadium.
So Pat Barnes at the control for the Blue Bombers, tries to erase an 8-point deficit. Charles Roberts has a couple. He's across the 30. Raheem Abdullah had him there. Roberts has had some difficulty running on the turf at Commonwealth, and has said that he really hasn't had his best games trying to play here in Edmonton.
Well, it makes sense, though, in a lot of ways, because on the natural grass, it's a different type of surface to try and make a cut. Charles Roberts can cut on a dime, and that's how he has been successful. More south runners have more success on the natural grass.
Here's Barnes, flag down. has a target and will be close to a first down depending on the spot. It's Reggie Jones, but the infraction could well be going against the Bombers here.
Because we've seen many times, whether it be a game in Winnipeg or on artificial surfaces.
Winnipeg 54. Second down repeated.
That play will come back on the holding call, Matt Sheridan. But we've seen Charles Roberts with 3 or 4 tacklers around him make 3 or 4 quick little cuts in there and find a way to hit that seam and break a big run. On the natural grass, that is much more difficult because you're basically able to make 1, maybe 2 cuts. You have to stay lower and be more patient with it, and that's why Charles Roberts hasn't had quite as much success here at Commonwealth.
Barnes for the Bombers looking at 2nd and 18. Escapes again to the far side and almost looking for Jones. Fabian Burke, who's into the game for Darryl Crutchfield, was covering on Jones that time.
Fabian Burke was playing in the deep outside zone, and that ball took a while to get there because it was the far side of the field. Pat Barnes, you see him on that hash mark. He looks to the left side of the formation. Now he just moves to the middle and has to throw it a long way. That's almost a 50-yard throw. That gives Fabian Burke time to come back and get his hand on that football.
Good job, Fabian. Good job, Fabian.
Westwood at his 5.
Look at that shitty kick.
This is Winston October near midfield. And October is down, and a flag lands on top of the pile. Tempers flare. There's lots on the line in Edmonton tonight. Eskimos on top of the Blue Bombers, 18-10. It's Wendy's Friday Night Football from Commonwealth. Eskimos on first down at the 54. Ray goes deep and missed by about 3 yards. Effortless toss as he looked for Ed Hervey for the first time. Now down to the Eskimo bench. Ryan?
Guys, before tonight's game, there was a light drizzle in the air. It definitely made the field a lot more slippery. Some of the players are making adjustments, going to a longer cleat. You can see Kelvin Kinney changing right now. No doubt, anytime you're at Edmonton, the field is a big factor, whether it's an advantage or a disadvantage. Well, different teams have different opinions on that.
Well, the Eskimos should have the home field advantage in footwear.
Usually the teams that come in here and lose, they don't like it. And I didn't hear Montreal in week 1 complain about the field conditions when they beat Edmonton here.
2nd and 10. Eskimos at the 54. Ray has time. Buys a little more. Vaughn on the far side. It'll be good for a first down.
Talk about tough throws to make. That's as tough as they come.
All the way across.
Yeah, Ricky Ray rolls all the way to the opposite side. This is the hash mark. The other hash mark, folks, is on this side of the field. Ray is going to go to his right. Now he's going away from the point of attack, plants, and somehow knows that he can throw it on a dime right out there on the spot. Money throw to Terry Vaughn on the opposite side of the field.
Terry Vaughn's 99th catch of the season. Closing in on 100 for the first time. Eskimos continue here. On another first down, about 5 yards more for Mike Pringle.
But that's a good example for any of the young receivers out there that may be watching this game, is why you hustle on the backside of a play. Terry Vaughn was never intended to be the primary target on that last throw. Ricky Ray rolled complete opposite from Terry Vaughn's side, but he threw it all the way across the field, and Terry Vaughn, because he kept working over there, presented a target for his quarterback.
Ray bought some time. Terry Vaughn found an opening. Second and 4, and there are flags everywhere. Robinson stopped at the 25. Maurice Kelly. The gain is 11 yards if it stands.
Offside. Winnipeg number 90. Penalties declined. First down.
Denny Fortney has been forced to move to the outside rush end position. He gets called on the offside. So that will move the sticks. The Edmonton Eskimos elect to take the play, which netted more yards than the penalty would have.
Ricky Ray has 11 completions already. And the Eskimos are set up at the Winnipeg 25 with another first down, leading by 8. Nice play action fake. A little end around. Here's Herbie with his hands on the ball for the first time. And Herbie down to the 3, maybe the 2.
Well, I love the play because Ed Hervey, it's just another wrinkle from the playbook. They've run shovel pass before where we go this direction with Mike Pringle and set up the shovel pass. Mike Pringle's going to step here. He goes on the fake. Now he's the fake shovel going to the left. The reverse coming around to Ed Hervey, and then it's Kevin Lestrid out there, number 65, trying to get in front of Harold Nash. Maurice Kelly from the safety just got a little piece of it.
That saved the touchdown, but likely not for long. Here are the Eskimos. To Winnipeg 2. Loose ball. And there are Bombers all over it.
Yeah.
Ryland Wickman comes up with it. It's a turnover going Winnipeg's way. Wickman has had a big game already.
I don't think Pringle ever touched that football.
Pringle doesn't put it on the ground very often. Here's what happened.
Well, Ricky Ray should take part of the blame here because the ball has got to go between the shoulder pads right in the stomach area of the running back. Now hold it right there, guys. You can see how low that football is right around the waist or thigh area on Pringle. He never got his handle on it. He never got control of the football, and then that hit the line of scrimmage, popped it out.
Ryland Wickman has a couple of fumble recoveries for the Bombers already tonight. Here's Pat Barnes. Interesting play. Kelvin Kinney got to him.
Winnipeg's Ryland Wickman has a couple of fumble recoveries, and that one 50-50 with quarterback and running back. And believe me, folks, for the quarterback, the running play is not a waste down. That's not a play where he doesn't have a responsibility. He has to get that ball squarely in the stomach of the running back so he can keep his eyes on the defense.
2nd and 5, Bombers. Barnes avoids the pressure, fired behind his intended receiver. That's Marcus Howell on the far side. So Barnes getting an opportunity to start for Kahari Jones in this one tonight. Another 2 and out there.
Pat Barnes has had some time to throw the football. He has had some time. Now, he's looked for Milt Stegall, and Milt Stegall is going to draw double coverage. There's Shannon Garrett on the inside and Singor Mobley on the outside. That has been Milt Stegall's season right there. He's still on the verge of 1,000, but that has been his season.
Winston October back near midfield. Westwood near his goal line. Nice kick. October lost the ball again. And the Bombers say they have another fumble recovery. Hang on, and there's the indication.
Yeah.
The Eskimos have turned it over again. A couple of fumbles by Winston October. A couple of recoveries on the other side of the ball for Ryland Wickman. Not this time for Wickman, but the Bombers do get it back. Clark is the first one down.
It's close to see whether or not Winston October was down on the play. He was covered. He was tackled there by Wade Miller. Now, was his knee down? His knee is touched now, but the ball had already come out. That's a good call by the official, I do believe.
So the Bombers have another first down. Mike Sellers.
John, Winston October on a couple of returns now has been carrying that ball way outside. Now, fundamentally, when you're carrying the football, you cover both tips. You cover both ends of that ball, one with your hand, and the other, you put the tip of the football under your underarm. Look how loose that is on Winston October. He's got the ball outside there, carrying it outside. He's got one tip covered, but not the other, and that's when the ball comes out.
Third turnover by the Eskimos. Barnes is on the money for a Winnipeg first down inside the 40-yard line. Stegall has the catch.
Well, it must be close to that 1,000 now. That was 13 yards added to the total.
Coming in, Milt Stiegel, 983. A great one tonight. It's a Wendy's Friday night from Commonwealth.
Welcome back to our CFL studios, everyone. Well, we apologize. We are having technical difficulties with the signal out of Commonwealth Stadium. It is second quarter. It's 18-10 for the Edmonton Eskimos. They were looking to add to that lead, guys, but a critical fumble by Mike Pringle inside the 5 after that great play. The double fake to Pringle, and then it ended up being a reverse to Ed Hervey. I understand the picture's back, so save the points, boys. Let's go back to Commonwealth Stadium and see what's going on. Back to John and Glenn.
To the first down catch by Stiegel. The Bombers missed their next 2 tries, so it's up to Westwood, and he's got it. Troy Westwood, a 44-yard field goal to get the Bombers a little bit closer. It's a 5-pointer now, 18-13.
I have to apologize to everybody. I got so excited about a great football game at 18-13, I kicked the plug out.
That was you.
So, yeah. So we're back. I'm sorry. I got a little excited here. I kicked the cord. The plug came out, but we're back. 2 and out there from Winnipeg after the Stiegel catch. I'll tell you what, with the dominance that the Edmonton Eskimos have shown here at Commonwealth Stadium, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers right now are battling.
Well, it's a moral victory for the Bombers to be hanging in like this without their starting quarterback, without their second best receiver. And you know what's on the line for Winnipeg against these Eskimos. The Winnipeg win, and they live to fight another day. That's in Winnipeg next week, hosting the Eskimos to still have the opportunity to finish first. The Eskimos need a win. Even a tie tonight would guarantee home field for the Western Final. That, in a nutshell, is what's on the line.
But coming in here to try and break the mystique that is this Commonwealth Stadium and how you try and come out of here with a win is one thing that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are doing well so far in this first half.
The Eskimos have won 74% of the games played on this turf during the regular season at Commonwealth Stadium since it opened in 1978. Mike Bradley took the opening kickoff, 92 yards for a touchdown. He's flying again. Bradley has room to the near side. It's Westwood trying to cut him off. Penalty marker goes down, and Bradley almost took it all the way again. Milo Lewis got over to make the tackle. The return covers 64 yards, but the flag, as mentioned, is back near the 50. This guy is flying tonight.
Well, is he ever? He has just got another gear. I mean, here comes Mike Bradley, and we've seen first through fourth. I think he's got a 5th gear that he's just now showing us with 2 games to go in the regular season. I mentioned earlier, Mike Bradley has been involved in returns now for most of the year, and it seems to me that every single game he's just got a little bit better. And over the last 3 or 4 weeks, he has been 1 tackle, 1 block away from breaking it. He is showing that great speed right now.
An illegal block on the return by Robert Grant. And so part of Bradley's return is wiped out. The Eskimos begin this drive right near midfield at the Edmonton 54. That's Pringle. Lost a step in there and fell for a couple.
Well, let's
Denny Fortney got the tackle.
Take you back to the opening kickoff to start this football game and take a quick look at Mike Bradley's speed. Milo Lewis, the defensive back. He outrun that angle. Terry Ray can't catch him.
Blue Bombers responded with a touchdown shortly after that. And another play is whistled down. These 2 teams have been at each other from the get-go tonight.
Well,
1 disqualification already, but that was not for an altercation between the Eskimos and the Blue Bombers. Well, it was abusive and official.
When you look at these 2 teams, they play again next week, and there is a chance that they will play each other in the playoffs.
Winnipeg 97.
And when you think about it, players, no matter how it turns out on the scoreboard, if you have to play the same team the next week, or you know that you will face them in a couple of weeks, The one thing that you want to do is set a physical presence. You want to come out here and win the game physically if possible. And that's why we're seeing the contact we're seeing tonight. Yes, there's a lot on the line, but these two teams will face each other again. They want to set a physical tone.
Bombers were offside, so the Eskimos look at 2nd and 1. Great play for Ricky Ray. Intercepted. Wickman has another huge play for the Bombers. An interception now to go with 2 fumble recoveries for number 55.
Well, it's the first time all year that I've seen Ricky Ray just make a mistake and not just take a loss. The pressure's going to come from the backside of the play, and David Benefield is just untouched and unblocked. Ricky Ray panicked a little bit. There's not a receiver in sight, and he just tried to get rid of it. Now he was trying to ground the football, but he ground it right into the arms of Rylan Wickman.
4th turnover by the Eskimos. Bombers, first down, 2 minutes till halftime. Sellers again. He's been explosive. And he just about ran right over Robert Grant.
Oh, did he? You know, and this is not fair to Robert Grant. You know, Robert Grant, who is the Eskimos nominee for Outstanding Rookie and has been playing well over the last half of the season. This is the Kobayashi Maru for Robert Grant. This is what it is. Kobayashi Maru was the no-win scenario in Star Trek, in case you're wondering. He can't win that race.
Pat Barnes near side has Howell about 5 yards there. Carry on.
Mike Sellers going downhill at 280 pounds against Robert Grant at barely 200. And Sellers has a 20-yard run. Can't win that, baby.
Bombers at 2nd and 5. Sellers can't turn the corner.
But that's how you can win against Mike Sellers. If you get his shoulder pads turned to the sidelines, and you get now a big defensive lineman in Raheem Abdullah, who weighs 250 pounds, now you got a better matchup. Now, see, this is one you can win. First of all, Sellers is going to turn that way, and watch how his shoulder pads, see how they're facing the sideline now? He doesn't have a run. He can't get that momentum, and then you throw in the fact that Abdullah weighs 250 pounds. Now you got a matchup you can win.
Here's Troy Westwood, 2 for 2 on the evening from 23 and 44. And Stoddard will put it down at the 44 again. Near side hash marks this time. Westwood missed this one by a bunch. Winston October thought about it for a moment. And it'll go for one more. Troy Westwood hit from 44, missed from 44. As the Bombers get a single out of that, it's a 4-point game now with the Eskimos beginning this drive at the 35. This is Pringle, another Edmonton first down as Pringle is rolled out near the 50 by Brian Clark. 16 yards the game.
What is truly amazing is that the Edmonton Eskimos have turned the ball over 4 times and still lead by 4. You turn the ball over 4 times and a half, more times than not, you're going to be at the wrong end of the scoreboard.
I'm over. I'm with you. Roger.
1st and 10. Eskimos at the 52. 59 seconds to play till halftime. Ray calmly stands in. No catch. October was going over the middle. The coverage was a little too tight that time from Ricky Bell.
Started out Winston October early on. He fumbles. Mike Pringle never got the handle.
October again.
And then there's the interception to Rylan Wickman. The Edmonton Eskimos coming into this game led the CFL in the giveaway takeaway category with plus 17 and had just 31 giveaways. That's number 1 in the Canadian football heading into this week. And they've given it away 4 times.
a little low that time. Milo Lewis had his hands on the ball but couldn't quite squeeze it.
Milo Lewis with good makeup speed. He's working one-on-one now. He's going to give Vaughn the inside because he has safety help in the middle. And then when that ball is in the air, Milo Lewis makes up the ground that he gave up on the inside.
So here's Sean Fleming, and Charles Roberts is there, back at the Blue Bomber 13-yard line. Fleming calmly puts it down near the 20. Roberts drops it, picks it up. This might be enough to find a little room for Charles Roberts. He has the kicker to beat head on, and Fleming stood his ground and forced him out with Mobley in pursuit.
Talk about a little presence of mind from Charles Roberts to not only be able to recover his own fumble, but to pick it up calmly and not lose his feet. Most players in this case will just fall on the football with Donnie Brady closing in on him. He picks it up calmly, and now the wall is set up nicely for him on the outside. He picks up good yardage.
The Eskimos had it well covered, and then the fumble messed them up a little bit on the coverage teams upfield, and Roberts was able to take it 34 yards. So the Bombers here with 34 seconds on the clock have a chance to add points before halftime. Pat Barnes has Sellers, and Donnie Brady has him.
John, this is what the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will talk about at halftime. They'll talk about trying to take advantage in the second half of Edmonton mistakes. It's not very often that you walk into Commonwealth Stadium, play the first-place team in the West, and have them turn the ball over 4 times.
Mask. Edmonton 26, first down.
Commit some penalties like they are right now, and give up some return yards like we just saw Charles Roberts pick up. That doesn't happen against the Edmonton Eskimos here in Commonwealth very often. And Winnipeg just has not been able to capitalize on it in the first half. That's what they will talk about at halftime. Guys, when we get the opportunity, we got to put 7 points on the board.
Here's a chance for the Bombers again with the infraction against Brady. Sellers couldn't squeeze it. 21 seconds till halftime. Pat Barnes good on 7 of 16, so the numbers aren't terrific, but he's hung in there, stood his ground.
What he's done well, too, is he has not thrown the interception.
And he's made a couple of plays.
And he's made some plays, but he wants to try and take advantage. I'm sure Kahari Jones will help out here. Kahari Jones at halftime is going to say, here are the 3 or 4 plays that we may be able to capitalize. When they turn it over, let's go up on top of and make them play.
21 seconds till halftime. 2nd and 10 for Barnes and the Bombers. Got it away. And a one-handed catch for little or no yardage, and the ball squirted loose. Mobley was in on the play.
Mo Elwanibi might have fallen on that football.
I think he recovered it. Mobley is angry that he didn't get the opportunity to come up with a turnover there.
Let's take a look and see whether or not it was even a completed pass. 33 right there has got the football. He had it with one hand. He had it in his left hand. Folks, that should be ruled a fumble.
And it's not. It's 3rd down as we look at it. And Westwood with Stoddard putting it down. Gets another crack at a field goal. Lost his footing as he got it away. And he misses 2 in a row. Winston October will take the rest of the time off the clock if he possibly can, down to zeros with no penalty markers down. So Westwood lost his footing on that try, I thought, and he's missed his last 2 tries.
Longer field goals are tougher on the kickers on natural grass.
One more look at the 2nd straight miss for Westwood. And it's a 4-pointer at halftime, guys.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Glenn. So it's kind of a good news, bad news situation for Winnipeg. They desperately need a win. They're playing a lot better than they have been, I think, in the past, when you consider where they're playing. A very tough place to play these days in Edmonton, but they haven't been able to take advantage of 4 turnovers. However, we're going to start talking about Edmonton and a guy that they've been utilizing here in the first half.
That's right. Troy Mills, and Ricky Ray uses all his weapons, as we see, and he does it with such poise in the pocket. As he's looking downfield, you watch him. He's got his eyes completely downfield at this point, and he has no idea that he does have a good idea that this man right around is coming right around the back. And so what does he see? He sees right here in his line of vision the fact that Donaldson's sucked up, and he just dishes it off to Mills. Troy Mills goes 22 yards for the score. Now, that is Sacramento State to Sacramento State. I know it's 14 years difference, but I tell you what, those guys are loving that, and they're having a big time.
But it is 14 years difference. I mean, Troy Mills is 36 years old, and he's playing that level of football. And I think he is an absolute key to the success of the Edmonton Eskimos. Remember last year's Grey Cup when John Avery couldn't handle the surface and he had that bad leg problem? It was Troy Mills that came and really produced. Hey, Mills is just like your 5th defensive lineman. He's going to play, and he has to produce. He's like your 6th offensive lineman. You have to have depth. And if Edmonton's going to get back to the Grey Cup, you never know who's going to be the key factor, and it just might be Troy Mills.
Well, his tenacity is remarkable, Schultz.
Yes.
He's hung around. He's been on practice rosters in Winnipeg. He keeps plugging away. He's a big contributor to that football team. But I want to get back a little bit to Ricky Ray and some of the stuff that he does and some of his magic. You know when a quarterback's at the top of his game, when he sees the whole field and he recognizes where his players are. Here, he needs to improvise a little bit, roll a bit right, but he knows he's got an over, and he says, hey, if I got to throw it 50 yards to get the over, I will. Now, Harold Nash is covering this guy. He's saying, oh, the quarterback's rolling right. I don't have to worry about this guy anymore. So he lets him go thinking, hey, that breaks the rules. And afterwards, he saw Harold Nash react, and after that play, he kind of threw up his hands going, that breaks the rules. You're not allowed to do that. If you're rolling right, you can't throw left. But with Ricky Ray, there are no rules.
That's a great point you made, too, about Troy Mills. Wasn't even in the league, really. Wasn't playing until the playoffs. 8 touchdowns this year he has for the Eskimos.
Dave.
Very good point, Chris Schultz. Mike Bradley, here's a guy to watch. What a start for him. Opening kickoff, takes it 92 yards the other way for his first career touchdown. Edmonton up by 4. Hey, the Rogers AT&T player of our first game was Marcus Brady. Did you see the game 1, Toronto hosting Montreal? Marcus Brady came in after Damon Allen got hurt in the 4th quarter. He passed for 142 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. He ran for a touchdown himself. Not huge, flashy numbers, but check out the score. And this is not a misprint, and it was every bit the beating that it looks like, folks. Montreal took one hard on the chin tonight. Toronto looks great, and they get a key win. They can lock up a playoff spot next week with a win at home against the Calgary Stampeders. And all the poor Ottawa Renegades can do is sit and watch because they don't play until next Sunday. They may have a very meaningful game against Montreal, but it could be all locked up by the time Toronto's done a week from tonight. This one's far from over. Here's the big boy, Mike Sellers, going in for Winnipeg. They're down by 4.
This day in the CFL is brought to you by Sport Check, Canada's largest sporting goods retailer. Sport Check, the best value.
October 17th, 1987, the BC Lions hosting the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and could this guy ever fly? Larry Crawford electrifies the home crowd early with this punt return for a touchdown. Then later, 1st and goal, Roy DeWalt back to pass, finds Jim Sandusky in the corner of the end zone, and DeWalt is going to hook up again in the end zone, this time with John Pankratz. Another touchdown toss. The Lions beat the Ticats easily, 25-11. Those same 2 teams will go at it tomorrow at Iverwin Stadium. Here are the numbers of the half for our game here in Edmonton tonight. Schultz, brought to you by Molson Canadian.
You know, Dave, the hardest thing to do in the Canadian Football League is produce extended drives. 14 first downs already for the Edmonton Eskimos. I mean, they are doing a great job of keeping the ball, and they're going to win the game, but they got to watch out for those turnovers.
Yeah, they got 4 of them. And that's why they're only up by 4. Let's see what Tom Higgins has to say about with Ryan Rashad.
Tom, we saw a bit of everything in that first half. Assess your team's play to this point.
Interesting first half. A lot of big plays, and turnovers have played a role in this game. And it's not too bad going in at halftime where we're at. We got to reload and play a good second half.
What can you say about young Mike Bradley making himself a factor in this game?
Well, he's a good football player, and we wanted to get his hands on the ball, and so he said he'll jump in there to be a kickoff return man, and he did a nice job.
All right, Coach, thanks. Good luck in the second half.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. So I didn't get that whole thing, Schultz. See what, they got to hang on to the ball better?
Oh, they're getting a lot of extended drives, but you got to watch out for the turnovers.
Oh, okay.
Simple.
Gotcha.
Great first half. The Eskimos lead it by 4. Comments from the Blue Bomber head coach now with Ken Chillibeck.
Dave, what was the comments in the dressing room at the halftime? It's a close game, obviously, anybody's game yet.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And basically, they got a good football team over there. Our guys are fighting pretty hard, so we'll just see what happens in the second half.
Pat Barnes, your assessment of his play in the first half?
He's been okay. You know, it's the real first game that he's had the chance to come out and play. The more he plays, the better he'll get.
Thank you very much, Coach. Appreciate it.
Interesting thoughts from the Blue Bomber head coach. I think the Bombers are playing with a lot more intensity than we saw a week ago against the Tiger Cats.
Well, they've created 4 turnovers in that first half, and they've done that on defense and on special teams. And I agree with Dave Ritchie with Pat Barnes' assessment. He's played okay. He hasn't thrown that interception. He hasn't cost the team. And he's really just trying to get that game action and game speed.
Second half kickoff. Bobbled. Roberts got it back just barely. Donnie Brady was right there. So here's Pat Barnes coming into this game. 11 of 28 for 153 yards. So as the Bomber head coach was mentioning, really not very much to go on as far as his numbers or his performance so far this season.
And when you look at Ricky Ray's numbers, that's uncharacteristically low completion percentage for Ricky Ray. He's up in the 70s and has been all season long. And he's been feeling a little pressure from that Winnipeg defense.
Bombers start deep in Winnipeg territory near the 20. Sellers has been the workhorse for Winnipeg, and he's got the 30-yard line and maybe a little bit more. Steve Charbonneau, the Eskimos' top Canadian nominee in the player awards, comes up with a tackle there.
Not really surprising that Mike Sellers is seeing the football a little more than Charles Roberts. Charles Roberts in the first half had 4 carries for 16 yards and has in the past struggled on the natural grass. Give it to the north-south guy.
Second and a couple. No one home. And a flag comes down. Penalty marker there. Pass was intended for Marcus Howell, or at least he was the closest Blue Bomber to the ball.
Shannon Garrett was providing the coverage, and hand fighting has been allowed to carry on throughout this season.
Pass interference. Edmonton 23. First down.
I think, though, that Shannon Garrett just took it a step far and really grabbed Marcus Howell, actually pulled him and impeded his path to the football.
Slowed him down definitely. 71 yards in penalties against the Bombers, 55 against the Eskimos. Edmonton turned it over 4 times in the opening half. Winnipeg out near the 45. Roberts lost it, and the Eskimos have this one. Charbonneau coming up with the ball, improperly exchanged between quarterback and running back.
Steve Charbonneau, penetration from the middle of the defensive line. The exchange from Charles Roberts and Pat Barnes causes the problem, but the hustle from Steve Charbonneau and the drive with his legs as he pushes back right there on Mo Elwanibi, fights off that pressure and is right in the backfield.
Edmonton 93. Objectionable conduct, Winnipeg 33. First down.
Then he got up talking about it. He got a penalty for that, Charbonneau did. And then when Mike Sellers went to answer all the questions that Charbonneau had, he got a penalty as well. So
I'd rather have one.
Fumble stands, and the Eskimos do get a first down at the 40-yard line on penalties to 2 players, Sellers and Charbonneau. Charbonneau will take the penalty after recovering the loose ball. And so Edmonton, good opportunity here from the 40. Ray has a wide open receiver. That's Winston October. Ricky Bell brought him down.
See, Ricky Ray on this play wanted to go to Terry Vaughn. The play was designed to go to Terry Vaughn. But when he recognized the defense, he immediately went to the weakness in the defense. Winnipeg Blue Bombers are going to play a zone. You see Maurice Kelly in the top of your screen dropping back in the middle. They're playing zone, and the weakness of this zone is way over there on the outside on the flat. Terry Vaughn out of the huddle is the intended target. But Terry Vaughn is picked up by the deep man, Milo Lewis, and he's covered down the field to the left of your screen. Ray made the read.
October picks up 22. Here's the pitch to Pringle. Around the corner. Stopped short of a first down by about 3 yards, and Ryland Wickman was there. Again, number 55 for Winnipeg.
There's been some grease on that pigskin tonight, and there's been some fumbles both sides of the ball. Remember the last time that Edmonton got down in the scoring area, a place where they've been dynamite over the last 5-6 games. Mike Pringle and Ricky Ray had problems with the exchange. Now they're down here again, a key situation. Team that hangs onto the ball may be the team that prevails tonight.
Gain was 6 yards. This is 2nd and 4 Eskimos. Hammers a difficult team to run against. Proof of it there. Pringle is stuffed.
There's a little Eric Wilson for you.
And a little Brian Clark as well, 48, helping out.
Yeah, Eric Wilson was in the backfield. I'm talking just before Mike Pringle saw the football. The Edmonton Eskimos went with double tight formation. Eric Wilson, 67, right to look at that penetration. He just blows right by Dan Comiskey with a great rip move with that right arm, comes underneath, and that's the best run defense in the Canadian Football League, folks, and that shows 69.9 yards per game. They showed it one more time on that last play.
Here's Sean Fleming for the Eskimos. 1 for 1 from 27. This is a little closer at about the 21. And Fleming hammers it right through the end zone. 3 more for the Eskimos. And a 7-point lead. It's Wendy's Friday Night Football from Commonwealth. Sports Center when we're done, coming your way from the Sports Network.
Well, I'm not a big baseball fan. I'm sure they'll have a little baseball news, but who are the Yankees playing this year? Isn't that to say how it goes?
Yeah, it's the Floridas.
Yeah.
Barnes in trouble here.
I know there'll be some football news, there'll be some hockey news, and some baseball on Sports Center, and just Yankees playing whoever in baseball in the World Series. Pat Barnes needs a home run. That's what Pat Barnes needs. And because he's been close tonight. He's had some time in the pocket. He's not made the crucial mistake in the game. He's hanging in there. What he needs for a big confidence builder right now is the home run, speaking of baseball.
On 2nd and 10. Barnes to the far side. Oh, close. Malcolm Frank almost took it the other way.
Well, I'm shocked that Malcolm Frank didn't take that to the house, because this secondary for the Edmonton Eskimos has been on fire in the last 8 games with regards to the interception category. In fact, this football team in the first 8 had 5 interceptions in the secondary. In the last 8 games, they've had 18. That's shocking that Frank didn't just take another one all the way to the house.
On 3rd down, Westwood bounces it near the 40. Winston October dancing until he's grabbed from behind. Stopped by Maurice Kelly. We'll have a few more nominees for the Rogers AT&T Wireless Player of the Game before this is over, but if you want to start thinking about it now, you can vote on the internet or by text messaging.
How about Mike Bradley? Opening kickoff, 92 yards for a touchdown for the Edmonton Eskimos. If Winnipeg wins, what about Rylan Wickman? 3 turnovers he's come up with all his own.
Couple of fumble recoveries, and here are the Eskimos. With Pringle, he puts it on the ground. Loose, an opportunity for the Bombers. And it looks like Winnipeg has come up with another turnover. Lamar McGriggs from under the pile. Penalty flag back prior to that. But the Bombers did come up with a loose ball, put down by Pringle, his second fumble of the night.
Major foul, face mask, Winnipeg. Winnipeg 62, first down.
Dan Gedvay, I don't know. Richie doesn't understand this one.
Well, it couldn't have been Dan. They're still huddling down there to make sure they've got the right numbers, the right call made.
Further explanation is required.
Dan Gedvay is on the offensive line. And they've sorted it out now.
Well, now the Bombers are sending out the offensive squad. So the indication originally was a fumble recovered by the Bombers.
Well, they called 62 on a face mask, and the defensive line was Benefield, Doug Brown,
The
Eric
ball was
Wilson.
loose when the face mask occurred. Winnipeg ball after the application of a 15-yard penalty against Winnipeg.
So the Bombers take the penalty, but they get the ball.
And they got the wrong number.
And that's the indication that they have reversed, because they indicated after the fumble was recovered that it would be Edmonton first down. So the Bombers offense is on the field. The recovery stands for Lamar McGriggs. And it's first down Winnipeg near midfield. Here's Charles Roberts.
All right, well, let's go back to it. Let's just go back and take a look. First of all, they called Dan Gedvay on a face mask. Dan Gedvay wasn't on the field. Here's the face mask, and it's Brian Clark, number 48. He's up in there. Now, there's 62 Bruce Beaton with his hand up in the face mask of David Benefield. That apparently wasn't called. The fumble came out after the flag came out. See, Gedvay is not on the field, so that's not against Winnipeg.
And there's the fumble recovered by McGriggs. So here we go, 2nd and 8. Sellers stopped in his tracks. Howled on by Glenn Young. Couple of plays for number 55 for Edmonton as well.
Well, Glenn
this
Young
evening
covered a lot of distance to get there. He went a long way to get there because he's in charge of covering Mike Sellers out of the backfield. So he comes up, flies over to his left, and is right there before Sellers can turn around and get ahead of steam. That's the key to stopping Mike Sellers. Stop before the train starts moving forward out of the tracks, out of the clubhouse.
Westwood. High, much better kick this time. October lets it bounce, and he stopped inside the 5, or maybe the 5.5-yard line when all is said and done.
Pretty good kick from
3 on the return.
Pretty good kick from Troy Westwood to have that ball have backspin on it, because Winston October was going to let that ball bounce into the end zone and give up a single point.
Then he had to make a play on it.
Yeah, but he had to play because Westwood had the backspin on the ball somehow.
So Terry Vaughn, CFL record holder with 9 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and he's closing in on his best year yet, as his 99th catch tonight. Eskimos at the 5. Ray drops into the end zone. Looks deep. Tucker was the target. No catch, no foul. And the coverage by Ricky Bell was a number one.
The crowd wanted a call, and there's no way. That was picture-perfect coverage from Ricky Bell, stride for stride with Jason Tucker. Just down to the left of your screen, right in here, and watch the position from Ricky Bell. He's got perfect position. He's in the hip pocket of Tucker, and then he also looks back to the football. He stays composed when the ball arrives. You cannot play it any better than Ricky Bell played it right there.
And Ricky Ray now looks at 2nd and 10. Eskimos at their own 5-yard line. Ray over the middle. And Tucker makes the catch. The spot will be important to the Eskimos here. Looks like an 8-yard gain. And it's not gamble time as Brian Clark moved up to make the tackle.
Well, the close from Brian Clark will force Tom Higgins into a decision. You know, David Benefield was this football team's nominee for outstanding player, and certainly he's had a good season with 8 sacks so far. But I guess I'm telling you right now that Brian Clark could have been, and in some people's opinions should have been, the nominee from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Linebackers don't often get 7 interceptions in a season, folks, and are amongst the leaders in that category.
Well, he's tied for the lead going into this week with 7 interceptions.
And this is not to take anything away from David Benefield, but in my books, Brian Clark is the nominee from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for outstanding defensive player.
Benefield with 8 sacks on the season, 2 fumble returns for touchdowns, and that can sway voters there because they were spectacular plays. Bomber defense is held, and the Eskimos retreat.
John, Brian Clark's play just gave his football team the points from the safety.
Yep, right there at
the
2.
ball back because of that close on Jason Tucker.
Bombers are not out of this one yet. They trail it by 5, and there's a long way to go on this Wendy's Friday night. More than 56,000 pounds of food has been donated to food banks in CFL cities as a result of the Purolator Tackles Hunger program in 2003. Alouettes lead the way with the most sacks in the league. Calgary is close to within 4 of that, and there's more to come with every CFL sack, thanks to Purolator.
Calvin Kenny has really come on in the second half of the season for the Edmonton Eskimos. Why their total is up around 37.
Reggie Jones returning this kickoff for the Bombers, and he'll get a good one out near the 50-yard line. Mobley made the tackle after a 29-yard return.
It is time for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They've had field position on some returns. That one from Reggie Jones. We saw Charles Roberts earlier with a nice return in the first half, and they just haven't been able to capitalize with points. They're running out of excuses. They've had turnovers, haven't capitalized. In order to do that, you still have to try and get the football to your best players.
1 catch, 13 yards for the Bombers' best receiver tonight. Milt Stegall has had a decent season by many standards, but not by his own. Pat Barnes in trouble and down. Ball squirted loose. They'll rule it just a sack. Dorian Boose was there to celebrate. And Raheem Abdullah not far away either.
Lack of success on first down has been the reason that Winnipeg has not been able to capitalize on any of the Edmonton turnovers or on the field position. When you get your first down play and you end up losing yards because Raheem Abdullah is in the backfield, and watch him get off the ball. Inside move on Mike Sellers. Matt Sheraton, little fake there, creates a turnover.
That's the 3rd time that the Eskimos have gotten to Barnes. 3rd and way too much to make up here, and Barnes is down again.
Should say created the fumble, yeah.
Yeah. Relentless pressure from that front 4 of the Eskimos. Kinney, Reese, Charbonneau, Abdullah, and Boose.
Yeah, and they rotate in, and watch, because they rotate in to stay fresh. So this time it's Boose and Reese in there, Raheem Abdullah on the outside. Reese gets involved. He's there, and Dorian Boose is rotated into the lineup. 1 steamboat, 2 steamboat, and it's collapsing on him.
Back-to-back sacks for the Purolator Tackles Hunger program. High snap. Westwood went high, brought it down, and got it away. Penalty marker is down on this return by Winston October, looking for his first touchdown of the season on returns. He gets to the 40, and Wickman is there again. A 33-yard punt. Westwood lucky to get it away. The return covers 30 yards.
A.J. Gass made the key block. You have to have one block for a returner to get to the outside and get to the wall. And A.J. Gass has the key one. Watch 77. If we pick him up in this shot, here he comes. Mike Sellers is the guy. 77 right there on your screen. Sellers is the only guy that can cut off October. Pow, right in the ear hole. Down goes Sellers. And around the corner goes Winston October.
And Wickman got him from behind after Gass sprung October loose. Eskimos at the 40. They've been close before. Nice fake by Ricky Ray. Good move coming back the other way. He has Pringle. Pringle one-on-one, needs a block, not quite. He's down to the 10. Maurice Kelly has made big plays for the Bombers on defense tonight.
The play doesn't work as designed, and Ricky Ray has to start to play a little sandlot football and make it up as he goes along, because it's supposed to be the shovel pass to Terry Vaughn underneath. Terry Vaughn wants to come from one side of the formation all the way across, but he is tackled by Benefield. There's the fake. Now Vaughn, number 3, is underneath. He's tackled, so Ray's running out of options. Now he's just saying, okay, you're the bottle cap. You go over there by the sideline. I'll throw the football to you.
It's a 30-yard gain for the Eskimos. Mike Pringle sets Edmonton up at the 10-yard line of the Blue Bombers. First and goal to go from there. Nice fake by Ray. There's the toss. Sellers. Or Mills can't hang on. Troy Mills spinning at the 2-yard line and couldn't grab it.
Yeah, it just goes back to fundamentals on that one. And Troy Mills, it doesn't matter if you're 10 years in the league, a rookie in the league, or playing your first year of tackle football. If you don't watch it into your hands, more times than not, you will drop it. And Troy Mills just tried to turn his body upfield and look for that end zone before he actually had secured the football.
Troy Mills has a 22-yard touchdown already tonight. Eskimos look at second and goal to go from the Bomber 10. Full house backfield for Ricky Ray. There's the toss. Not this time. Terry Vaughn missed, and that would have been his 100th catch of this CFL season.
Well, and he is wide open. I mean, what a move. Dave Donaldson tries to take the way of the inside. Look at that. Donaldson lunges. Great shake and bake. He slips and goes down. Vaughn is wide open. Oh. And Ray puts it out to the outside. Terry Vaughn just cannot come up with a catch, but it's off both hands. What a move on Dave Donaldson. Oh, boy.
So again, this Bomber defense bends a little bit, but doesn't break. The Eskimos don't get to the end zone and will settle for another field goal try by Fleming. And he hammers this one through. There's your score. It's 24-16 on Wendy's Friday Night Football. Dave Ritchie's Blue Bombers fighting for their lives as far as first place is concerned in the CFL West. Winnipeg is guaranteed a playoff spot, but without a win tonight, it could be well down the list. The Bombers can finish first, second, third, or fourth in the CFL West, depending on how this whole scenario of the final 2 weeks plays out. If they win tonight, they still have a chance to finish first by beating Edmonton in the return engagement next week.
Tom Higgins just has to win one game or even tie one game, and he locks up first place and will host that playoff game here at Commonwealth Stadium, where as we've mentioned before, the Eskimos have been dominant. Now, I will give Winnipeg credit tonight. They have battled against that Edmonton mystique.
Short kick coming down near the 30. And the return by Mike Sellers is to about the 34-yard line. or make it the 39-yard line. So Pat Barnes needs a little more protection from that Bomber offensive line. That's been where all Winnipeg problems have really started this season. Because of injuries, the Bombers have had to make an awful lot of changes up front.
And they had to again tonight. Benedict DeBissé, and he's back on that offensive line. They've had to move Eric Wilson over to the defensive side of the football.
Jamie Stoddard flanks to the near side. Roberts is upended. Another big play by the Eskimos, and it's A.J. Gass celebrating again.
Sometimes the special teams and a big play on the special teams can get you pumped up when you come back on the field defensively. And A.J. Gass flows to the football. This time he steps right up in the hole and cuts the legs out of Charles Roberts. Working on a little of that momentum that he gained on that special teams play when he had the key block for Winston October.
Roberts 8 carries, and he hasn't had much yardage so far. Here's Barnes on second down, throwing on the run, and at the 55, he'll get a completion and a first down. Barnes to Jamie Stoddard, his first catch.
And that's something to build on for Pat Barnes. He's been close to a couple of completions. He's not been able to hit the home run. Last series, the pocket collapsed on him. This time they come out and try to move the pocket around a little bit. Rather than leave Pat Barnes right back in the pocket, move him around, roll him out, and give that offensive line a little bit more help.
Stoddard's catch for 15 yards. The Bombers just shy of midfield at their own 54. Good fake by Barnes. This is Roberts slipping again as he tries to turn the corner, and 4 hard yards there for the Bomber running back. Steve Charbonneau was waiting.
Kelvin Kinney, though, created it. Kelvin Kinney got up the field so that Charbonneau and Kinney's friends could come and close on it. And that sort of bubbled Charles Roberts, made him go outside. Kinney has been a force there to be reckoned with. He's playing against Matt Sheridan for most of the night, and Sheridan has been playing guard for most of the year. Now has had to move to tackle because of the changes. Now he's got to handle Kelvin Kinney.
Winnipeg looking at 2nd and 6. Flags are down. Barnes shotgun. Stiegel can't hang on. There were Eskimos all around. Quincy Coleman for 1.
And Kelvin Kinney again in that matchup. Kinney on Matt Sheridan. Kinney is just a straight bull rusher. He's got long arms,
Offside.
good reach.
Winnipeg number 1. Penalties decline. 3rd down.
And Winnipeg was offside. Edmonton Eskimos defensively will fly to the football. Stiegel figured that out in a hurry.
4 sacks by the Eskimos. Kinney has 1, Reese has 1, Boos has 1, Abdullah has 1. One of the reasons the Blue Bombers are kicking again. More pressure on Westwood. Good kick under the circumstance. And good coverage by the Bombers near the 15. Jeff Drover leading the tacklers there. Eskimos leading by 8 for the first down at the 16. Good play by Ricky Ray again. Here's Vaughn. That's catch number 100 on this season for Terry Vaughn. Milo Lewis got over to make the tackle. And that is a career high for the outstanding Eskimo receiver.
Personal best for Terry Vaughn, who has just simply year in and year out been the best. And I've said it before, but if I was building a football team, Terry Vaughn would be where I'd start.
32-yard gain there. Vaughn has 78 yards on 4 receptions tonight.
And he needed 86 yards for a career high in that category as well, so he's knocking on the door there.
Pretty good bet he'll finish that little momentum for him. This is picked off, and a penalty flag was down prior to that. Maurice Kelly has the ball, but markers were down in the coverage area. So that interception may not stand for Kelly and the Bombers.
Ricky Bell was in charge of the coverage on Ed Hervey. Hervey had his back to Ricky Bell. Ricky Bell was on the outside, trying to chase him down. I'm not so sure the bell didn't grab the jersey of Ed Hervey as he was trying to go down the field. And then Maurice Kelly coming from the safety. That'll take away the interception
Pass
from Maurice
interference.
Kelly.
Winnipeg number 20. First down.
Here you go.
Ricky Bell better be careful talking to the officials. We've got a good look at it for you, folks. Here's Ricky Bell. Now he loses inside position briefly. Now he's in a chase. See the grab there on the jersey. Now he keeps holding on. The left hand never comes off the jersey, and that's why it's untucked. C81, the left side of that jersey, is untucked. It's interference.
Eskimos set up with another first down as a result. This one is intercepted. Right into the arms of Joe Morgan. Second start at safety for the Blue Bombers. He is Winnipeg's rookie nominee.
That's an overthrow from Ricky Ray over the middle. You throw it over the middle and you overthrow the football, bad things are going to happen. Jason Tucker was the intended target, and that one wasn't close. A couple of things uncharacteristic. The Edmonton Eskimos here at Commonwealth tonight. Turnovers, the first one.
And a couple of picks thrown by Ricky Ray. Edmonton has turned it over 6 times, and the Bombers are still trailing by 8. On the ground, they have been most effective, and that's Mike Sellers.
John, when you talk about this football team at home at Commonwealth, over the last 7 games, well, all 7 have been wins to start with, averaging 42 points a game, allowing just 18. We showed you how good Ricky Ray's been here at Commonwealth, and it's a team that has dominated the giveaway, takeaway categories, and they've given up 6 turnovers tonight already.
2nd and 7 for Pat Barnes and the Bombers. Barnes has been roughed up and sacked a bunch. There's one more. Couldn't escape. Raheem Abdullah, his 2nd of the night.
Maybe the biggest improvement on this football team from when the day they broke training camp until this point in the football season has been the play of their front 4. They have just become a dominant force up there, arguably one of the best right now in the CFL at rushing the quarterback. Raheem Abdullah with another sack. Working this time on Matt Sheraton, tries to knock it down, and look at the speed to track down Pat Barnes.
Bombers have the turnovers, the Eskimos have the sacks. 5 so far tonight. Flag is down. After the Pirates, Winston October, a little stutter step there. It didn't fool the Bombers on special teams. Harold Nash leading the tacklers there, but the flag is back.
Home field advantage, here we come.
Good job, Raheem.
To my wife, Denise, I love you, baby. Hey, that's 2 sacks later tonight.
That's what you love about a football player, right? He rushes the quarterback, throws him, pile drives him into the ground after a huge fight with a huge offensive lineman, then looks at the camera and says, "That's for my wife, Denise. I love you, baby."
Well, his 2nd sack of the night.
Penalty is going to go against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and they'll have to kick this one over now. Troy Westwood will be standing in his own end zone.
24-16. It's Edmonton by 8. 16 seconds remaining, 3rd quarter. Again, the Bombers.
Even though you're scratching for those points, you're going to give up 3 anyway. This is safety time, I think, again. They're not going to do it.
Nope, we were out foxed again. Well, Winston October will get tired here sooner or later. Maurice Kelly has put in a wonderful performance tonight.
I understand Dave Ritchie deciding to kick the football there, but Troy Westwood standing 3 yards deep in his end zone. You're talking about 10 yards now, and Fleming kicks a 3-point field goal.
That's 3 quarters in an entertaining evening at Commonwealth.
Yeah, it's entertaining, Wellesley, but frustrating for the Bombers and their fans, no doubt. 6 turnovers. One note, David Benefield's forced fumble, his 5th. That is a franchise record for a single season, but they can't take advantage, Schultze.
Well, you know what the score of this game is? It is 6-1 for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers because they do have 6 turnovers. The Edmonton Eskimos, they have allowed the 6, and they're different types. That one is a takeaway. This one is a giveaway by Pringle. You'll see the exact opposite. This one is a takeaway because it was done by great physical play. Here's another one coming up where the Bombers make the play. That's called a takeaway. We're going to go to the next one after that. We'll see this one come through. That is a takeaway as well. It's a huge difference in the game. It is really the reason, the fact that this game is even close. Good job by Benefield right there, stripping the football. In another situation, you have Ricky Ray going back to pass. This one is just going to be overthrown. That is a giveaway, and you have to understand the difference between the two. So you credit the Winnipeg Blue Bombers because 4 of 6 have been because of good defensive plays.
And we talked about the fact that they haven't taken advantage of that.
That's correct.
You know, Pat Barnes, I mean, this is a situation where it's tough for him to be in the football game, and Coach Ritchie talked about it at halftime, that he sees a guy, he said, this guy's having an opportunity really for the first time. But he's not afraid to give up the sacks. And here he is right now scrambling out of the pocket. He shouldn't do this. He's to stay in the pocket and step up in the pocket. And here's a situation where he goes a bit of a half roll. He tries to step up and take off, but the pocket collapses on him. His receivers are not getting open for him. This is what you can tell from his frustration out there in the field, Maddie, and it's showing.
Yeah, and it's a great game to watch. I'm sitting here and I'm entertained. And what I'm looking at are 2 teams that are fighting for first place in the West. And we're seeing the intensity. Both defenses have stepped it up. I'm impressed. You heard Glenn Suter talk about the Edmonton defensive line taking over this football game. They are 6'6", 6'5", 6'7", and 6'6" up front, and they've got athletic ability, and they're wreaking havoc on Pat Barnes right now.
The last time these 2 teams met at Commonwealth Stadium was last season Western Final. It was a close game, went down to the wire, 3-pointer. Let's see what transpires in the 4th and final quarter of this one. Back to John and Glenn. Guys?
The Eskimos have turned it over 6 times and still have the lead. They also have 5 quarterback sacks. On the Blue Bombers starter, Pat Barnes tonight. Winnipeg fighting for a last gasp of finishing first in the West. It's an Edmonton first down. One made the catch, and he's inside the 40. Lamar McGriggs made the tackle after a 4-yard gain.
Here Dave Randorf saying the Winnipeg fans must be frustrated. This is why 18 first downs for Edmonton. They won that category, they won that category, they won that category.
By a bunch.
Abysmal in that one, and that's why people are wondering, 6 turnovers, why is Winnipeg not leading this football game? Because of the defense for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, and that group up front has been relentless with 5 sacks. Ricky Ray had all day. Oh! And he threw it right to Wickman, who almost had his 2nd interception of the game.
Yeah, and you got to give a lot of credit to this Winnipeg defense. I mean, you take away some of these turnovers, and Edmonton is rolling away with this one. And Rylan Wickman has been all over the field tonight. He is 3 turnovers of his own. This was almost the 4th, and this is the first time I've seen Ricky Ray this rattled in a game in 2 years. And I just mean the decision process for Ricky Ray has always been so consistent and solid, and tonight he's just made some bad ones.
Well, the balls he's put up for grabs haven't been anywhere close to his receivers. But here you go, as you suggested, Sean Fleming was already in field goal range and gets a crack at this one, and he's got another.
So if you're Dave Ritchie, do you give up 2 in the safety, or do you give up 3 from Sean Fleming?
Well, he gave up 3. Sean Fleming. Tomorrow on the Sports Network, CFL Traditions continues this week. The Stampeder story. It's at 2 o'clock Eastern tomorrow on TSN. Tim Taylor and his gang have done a wonderful job putting that all together. CFL Traditions. Pat Barnes on first down with the Bombers trailing by a bunch all of a sudden. And he'll get a completion. Nice throw on the far side. Stoddard has a couple of second-half catches now.
Well, when the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have moved the pocket around, they've had some success. And Pat Barnes showing that he can throw the football on the run, because he is on the dead run to the wide side of the field. Gives that offensive line a chance on the backside. They don't have to try and pass protect with the quarterback standing right back there in the pocket with a big target on his chest.
Nice pattern by Stoddard for his second catch.
Now, Paul LaPolice, the offensive coordinator, who is always up in the booth, is now down on the field. Apparently, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are having some problems with their headset. Now, according to the league rules, if that occurs, then the other team, in this case the Edmonton Eskimos, will also have to take one set of headsets off to make it equal. Dan McKinnon, normally for Edmonton, wears one set up there, as does Dan Kepley defensively. McKinnon is in the front of your screen right here, and he still has his headset on. So Paul LaPolice goes down, and there's the headset in the back end. So both have headsets on. They haven't taken one off yet. Paul LaPolice may be able to do some good down on that sideline anyway with the young Pat Barnes, and just being able to one-on-one give him some instructions.
Kahari Jones in the foreground, and LaPolice to his right with the double B. Again, we stress the fact that the Bombers must win this game tonight against the Eskimos to keep a hope alive of finishing first and hosting the Western Final. The order is a tall one for Winnipeg, however. They had to beat the Eskimos tonight, and then again in the rematch in Winnipeg next week.
Fabian Burke is walking off the field, attended to from the training staff, number 19. Remember, Burke was the guy who replaced in the first series Daryl Crutchfield, who was thrown out of this football game in the first series of plays. So now they're going to have to make some more adjustments. Now, they have played Singor Mobley at safety. They have played Robert Grant, who is normally a linebacker, at safety. And they'll put Grant back there right now.
They have extra linebackers on the depth chart. Nicely played, and that's Stiegel making the catch, and the run afterwards. Needs a block here. Stiegel to the end zone. Touchdown. Milt Stiegel, the game breaker for the Blue Bombers for the past 7 seasons, comes up with the biggest play of the night.
Right when the Edmonton Eskimos were trying to juggle their secondary and get straightened out because of the injury, Shannon Garrett takes some time to get to the halfback spot, number 23. He's the guy who's got to get his hands on Milt Stiegel as he tries to run down that seam. He runs clean down the seam. Shannon Garrett can't get there, neither can Robert Grant, who was playing the safety spot, because no one got his hands on Milt Stiegel.
That was a nice run by Stiegel after the catch to pick his way into the end zone for a 62-yard touchdown.
And Milt Stiegel is now over 1,000 yards.
And Stiegel's 12th touchdown of the season. Now Ritchie goes for his 2 points. On the convert attempt here, Winnipeg climbing within 5 of the Eskimos. It's 27-22 on the scoreboard. 2-point convert, deep in the end zone, batted away. Stiegel was the intended receiver. Shannon Garrett, who has been with him much of the evening, was covering there.
Perfect position, and this could be a big, big play for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Stiegel takes this 62 yards to get the Blue Bombers within 5. Milt Stiegel over 1,000 yards as a result of a 62-yard touchdown run to get the Bombers within 5.
Boy, and Milt Stiegel reached way deep down into his bag of tricks. Been double-teamed all game. It's been tough for Stiegel to get open. He had to go way down to the bottom of that bag of tricks on this one.
Not deep. Coming down near the 40. October has it, and the Bombers have him.
I'll show you how deep that Stiegel went into his bag of tricks to get open. He did the old, I faked the hamstring injury. Watch, he comes off the line of scrimmage. Now he's going to go. They fake, like he grabs his hamstring right there. He says, hey, I'm hurt. I got my hamstring. I can't run. I can't. Yeah, I'm kidding you. I'm gone.
That was just the shift into second gear.
That was just, yeah, he just low shifted down there. He grabbed that hamstring like he was hobbling a little bit and then took off.
And then he put it in overdrive. So the Eskimos with 12:39 to go do not have a lock on this one quite yet. There's Hervey. Brought down from behind, Ed Hervey. First catch of the night for Hervey. Tim Carter brought him down, and this is Ricky Ray at his best.
This is more like the Ricky Ray we've grown to love to watch in a couple of years of CFL football. 3 steps, no hesitation, knew exactly where he wanted, and that is money, folks. In stride to Ed Hervey, and that's a touchdown-saving tackle in the open field for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Tim Carter over to make the tackle on Hervey. So here are the Eskimos. They've been in scoring position a couple of times and settled for field goals. This one may not be a field goal. Well, hang on. Terry Vaughn looked like he might have had a step on Milo Lewis. Lewis reacted and saved the touchdown.
Ricky Ray's back. He's back, folks. Long ball, and then he's going to get the blitz from Maurice Kelly in the safety. Coming number 24 from the left of your screen. Little play action, recognizes the blitz from 24, Maurice Kelly. He knows exactly where he has to go with the football immediately. He hits Terry Vaughn, and they're knocking on the door now.
At the 2-yard line. A 12-yard gain, and the Eskimos have 3 cracks at it from there. They won't need 3, but a penalty marker goes down as Pringle hits the end zone. Flag from deep in the end zone.
And the official that threw the flag was counting Winnipeg Blue Bomber players and counting Edmonton Eskimo players.
Well, if the total is not 24, there's a problem.
Winnipeg. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
One too many with a white shirt on.
Again, that's the second time the Bombers have had too many out there. So again, the Eskimo lead is 11 points. Eskimos answer Stiegel's 62-yard touchdown quickly and finish it off here.
Everybody heads, just slides down the line, pick up the nearest guy to the left side of the formation and just drive them. And our tailback, Mike Pringle, will drive right in behind you.
Sean Fleming for one more. It is 34-22. The Eskimos leading the Blue Bombers on Pringle's touchdown from a couple of yards out. Mike Pringle has his 12th rushing touchdown of the season. A very impressive drive by Ricky Ray and the Eskimos.
Hey, when the Bombers get it to within 5, what does the Edmonton Eskimos do to come back and answer? How about a deep one to Ed Hervey to get started? Recognize the blitz quickly and hit Terry Vaughn to get you down in the goal line. And then in 3 quick plays, you're in the end zone. There's your answer, Winnipeg. 7 points on the board for the Edmonton Eskimos, and I think the Bombers may have just awoken the sleeping quarterback in Ricky Ray.
Eskimos are coming off their bye week. That might explain a little bit of the difficulty they've had at times tonight. Charles Roberts returning for Winnipeg. Donnie Brady tackling for the Eskimos.
Now, how did the Edmonton Eskimos come back defensively and try and regroup from a point of a secondary shuffle? And that's what they've been doing, and that's how Milt Stiegel got so wide open. While they were trying to get organized, Shannon Garrett didn't get to his spot. Stiegel went right down the seam on him. And now they put Robert Grant at the safety. Moose Singor Mobley in at linebacker. They got Donnie Brady, and they got Quincy Coleman, the safety, out on the corner to the wide side of the field.
Still over 10 minutes to go here in the final quarter. Roberts, one of his best efforts of the night, running the football.
So here's the adjustments that the Edmonton Eskimos now have tried to make. They have 2 corners out of the game. So now over here in this corner over here, that's going to be now Quincy Coleman, who's going to play the wide side. Quincy Coleman will play one side. Now they're going to put Robert Grant, who's normally a linebacker, and they'll move him back to the safety spot. He's going to line up right there in the middle. So now they have to adjust 2 or 3 players to make up for 2 losses in the secondary.
That 11-yard run was, in fact, Charles Roberts' longest of the evening. More pressure on Barnes. Roberts spun away from one, and he'll still lose a little bit. Mobley met him again. Back-to-back tackles by Mobley. And a loss of 3 yards for Roberts there.
Yeah, and a nice play by Quincy Coleman, who's asked to go over and play that corner, and he comes up and he forces it back into his teammate, Singor Mobley, who is this team's outstanding defensive player nominee. And watch how quickly he flies over there. He reads Charles Roberts quickly. He's gone to the right of your screen. Here comes 25. Quincy Coleman turns him inside. Mobley cleans him up.
Bombers look at 2nd and 13. Big play for Pat Barnes here. Too high. Looking for Reggie Jones.
Well, what they tried to do, though, is attack the side that Quincy Coleman has been asked to go out and play corner. And that was the seam route to Jones down the hash mark, hoping that it would be Coleman that'd end up covering him. Didn't work out. They had a couple of different guys in there to help out on the coverage. And Barnes will have to go one more time to the sideline.
Westwood. It's been an adventure for him tonight. Another loose ball and the Bombers have an opportunity here. Winnipeg says it's our ball, and in fact it is. The Blue Bombers have another Eskimo fumble and an opportunity here. It's a wild one, isn't it?
Bombers won't go away.
Suter and I are on the first flight tomorrow morning for Calgary, where the Rough Riders and the Stampeders get together on Sunday afternoon. Stampeders soap opera continues. Riders still have a chance for a home playoff game. So we'll watch that one with interest on Sunday afternoon from McMahon in Calgary.
Well, and if there's ever a time for Saskatchewan to grab a home playoff game, it's this year. With the temporary stands in Taylor Field for the Grey Cup game, they could pack them in, maybe get 50,000 in there for a home game, and they know it. They know how important it is. Winston October has had his problems with the football tonight. Third fumble for October. Now this time he didn't ever have control of it. He just didn't corral it from the get-go.
Dave Donaldson gets credit for the Bomber recovery. And here's where Winnipeg sits with a first down. Inside the Eskimo 40. Nice play action fake by Barnes. Target was open, and he overthrew Mike Sellers.
Sellers is going to be hurt. It doesn't matter how big you are. If you have to expose your rib cage and go up for it, he was slow to get up there. Malcolm Frank put his helmet right in the rib cage of number 33, Mike Sellers, who comes out of the backfield. He's going to run that wheel route down the sideline. Watch that shot. He's exposed, and that goes right in the ribs, folks.
So it's 2nd and 10. Early movement, no question about that. Barnes may have a free play here. And he couldn't hook up with Milt Stiegel. Looked like the Eskimos might have jumped a little bit early there.
Well, Reggie Jones was in the slot back position. He got up into that line too. Be interesting to see. I did see the Edmonton Eskimos jump.
Offside. Edmonton 93.
Well, there you
Second
go.
down repeated.
They got Steve Charbonneau and let Reggie Jones kind of hop at the line of scrimmage. He must have stayed just onside.
Still 8 minutes to go. And the Bombers look at 2nd and 5 as a result of that penalty. Stoddard to the near side. Trips formation. Barnes has time. Looking to the corner. No catch. And no flag for Marcus Howell.
No, and there shouldn't be. And there shouldn't be. Malcolm Frank, the veteran, 7 years in the CFL, 5 with the Edmonton Eskimos. And again, the coverage perfect. And I'll show you why it's perfect. Right now, he's trying to catch up, okay? As soon as the ball's in the air and Shannon Garrett gives him the ball call, see how he turns? He turns, but as he turns, he falls back into the lap of Marcus Howell. It's not interference. He's turned his body around. He's looked at the football. That's perfect coverage.
Westwood has had difficulty tonight, missing from 43 and 47. This from 39, and he keeps his footing this time and nails that one. 39-yard field goal, and the Blue Bombers get a little closer at 34-25. First down, Edmonton. Mike Pringle, nowhere. And Wickman continues to have an outstanding evening. Has 1 interception, 2 fumble recoveries. Should have had 1 more interception.
That last play by Mike Pringle there on that run looked like he ripped the ball out of Ricky Ray's hands and really never got started. That's why Wickman was able to slide over there in a hurry and put the hit on him. There's been some problems with the exchange in both teams from quarterback to running back tonight.
No gain. 2nd and 10 Edmonton. 7:13 to play in a 9-point game at Commonwealth. Ray has an open receiver. First catch of the night for Rick Walters.
Always the forgotten man, Ricky Walters, and all the coverage, looking at Terry Vaughn, looking at Jason Tucker, finding out where Ed Hervey is, and the key play in a game is often made by Ricky Walters to the right of your screen, who will be forgotten by the defense, and as soon as you forget him, that's when he opens himself up for a big first down.
Brian Clark over to make the tackle on Ricky Walters, who picks up 20 yards, and the Eskimos are right at midfield. Ray still has it after a nice fake. Now he has Pringle, and Pringle takes off down to the 20. Clark again over to make the tackle, and the Eskimos have responded every time the Bombers have put points on the board.
Tremendous patience from that guy, number 15, Ricky Ray. It's not open immediately. Again, play action, shovel pass. Watch the patience. Patience on Benefield. Wait till he comes to you, and then dump the football underneath to Mike Pringle. He takes off, gets his shoulder square, and he's gone.
Another 35 yards for Pringle. His receiving yardage more than his rushing yardage in this one so far tonight.
But that's a glorified running play
it is,
anyway.
but just the way they'll mark it down. 101 receiving yards so far. Nice fake by Ray. As Vaughn, flags everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
They should throw them all.
There's a guy we haven't talked about much tonight, a guy who wanted to have a big game. That's Terry Ray, and Terry Ray will be called on interference. Terry Vaughn was wide open. Look at the distance right there between Terry Ray and Terry Vaughn.
Pass interference. Winnipeg 25.
No question.
First down.
Are you sure that should be called interference?
Well, you could call it interference. You could call it face guarding. You could call it screening. You could call it illegal contact, or you could just put it. You could just put a bow on all of them and just say
anyway.
First down on the 1 yard line.
Yeah, nobody's arguing about the call. Giving the Eskimos the football at the 1.
Tough matchup, though, to have Terry Ray covering Terry Vaughn.
And Pringle has another.
Now they're good at home, aren't they?
Mike Pringle. Couple touchdowns tonight.
Even when they're not that good, they're good at home.
11 rushing touchdowns for Pringle coming into this one. He has a couple tonight to make it 13, and a couple of receiving touchdowns on the season as well.
This has been a game that was there for the taking for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They couldn't capitalize in the first half on Edmonton turnovers. They had 4 in the first half. They haven't been able to capitalize in the second half. They have got some things going, but every time they do, the Edmonton Eskimos find an answer.
Well, and that's the mark of a terrific football team on any kind of turf. But at Commonwealth, the Eskimos win 74% of the time. 166 wins since they opened this stadium in 222 regular season games.
Mike Pringle, one more touchdown for him, his illustrious career. And he was involved in the big play on the drive, too. That play action, shovel pass is what we're talking about, the glorified run play from Mike Pringle. A little play action there. He's basically still in the backfield. Yes, it's a forward pass, and that's how it goes down in the stats. But that's nothing more than a sweep to the left, and Pringle running with the football.
Picked up 35 yards there and set it up. And then to finish off the setup, the interference call in the end zone. And Pringle carried it in from 1 yard out. So the Eskimos, with a win tonight, will clinch top spot in the CFL West. The Blue Bombers will be left groveling for their playoff hopes if they can't come back from a 41-25 deficit in the final 5:26.
Well, they're home playoff hopes, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I should clarify that. You're right. But what I'm saying is they're still scrambling.
Without question.
Could finish second, third, or fourth.
That's right.
In the West, and fourth means a crossover. Marcus Howell out near the 50 with a pretty nice return, and Pat Barnes.
Well, it is really amazing when you look at the West Division and what can still happen. I mean, if Edmonton holds on to win, Edmonton Eskimos take first place. They have home field. Now, coming into the game, they could finish no worse than second place. BC, Winnipeg, and Saskatchewan will still battle for that home playoff game in the semifinal.
Marcus Howell got one hand on it and might have saved an interception as a result.
Well, you got to take your hats off to a couple of groups for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. One, the offensive line. It has been makeshift, and Pat Barnes throughout this game has had some time to throw the football. The other is the Winnipeg defense. They have given this football team every opportunity to win, and they just have not been able to capitalize enough.
This is 2nd and 10. Barnes has the out, and Howell makes the catch.
You know, and Pat Barnes, when you consider the limited playing time that he's seen this year, has not played all that bad. You know, I just think when he stands back in that pocket, and even when he's had time or when he's been on the full roll, boy, those receivers have had to work for everything they've got down the field. And Kahari Jones will be ready for next week's rematch between these two teams.
It's a high ankle sprain that has kept Kahari Jones out of this one. Should also be noted the Bombers are missing their second leading receiver, Robert Gordon.
Yeah, but it should be noticed as well, John, that the Edmonton Eskimos secondary lost two guys in this game. Two corners. Daryl Crutchfield and then the backup, Fabian Burke. And they keep bouncing back and making plays at the back end.
On first down, Pat Barnes has it batted down. Dorian Boose. And this front four for the Eskimos has had quite a night.
Well, they are just, you know, when you get that rotation going, now you get Dorian Boose who's been rotating through, and it's not just a rotation in one area. See how nice he was patient there. He timed his jump perfectly. 38 tackles for him. He has 5 quarterback sacks on the season. He rotates through all the positions. Not just one guy comes in and out. All 4.
Barnes had room to run, but he looks deep for Stiegel, and it's batted away. Donnie Brady was covering, and that draws a flag.
Well, this is going to be one of those close ones. Donnie Brady's going to get called for interference, but this is going to be one of the close ones. And the reason he'll be called for interference is because Milt Stiegel was trying to get back to the football. Now, Brady was looking at it. He was turned and looking at it. Now, he picks up Stiegel right here. Now, watch. He's going to turn and look at the football. You see that left hand? The left hand will not allow Stiegel to cut back and have his position on the football field as well. And that's why he's called. That's been as close as it gets in that interference situation tonight.
And Glenn, the net result is a 44-yard gain for the Bombers, and Winnipeg not done quite yet, trailing 41-25. Lots of time left for a Blue Bomber comeback. Charles Roberts has not had footing. Another flag flies down there. Roberts has struggled on this turf at Commonwealth.
Well, yeah, you expect the leading rusher in the Canadian Football League to come in and be a big part of your offense, and Charles Roberts really hasn't been here in this game tonight. And really, in most of the game, they've gone to Mike Sellers. Roberts with just 9 carries for 28 yards, and that's not Charles Roberts-like numbers.
Offside, Edmonton 92. First down repeated.
So Kelvin Kinney who has a sack tonight called there. So the Bombers are set up with a great opportunity to hit the end zone again here. It's on the ground. Roberts picks it up, and he's decked at the 15. He lost yards. It's Dorian Boose again. A 9-yard loss. Boose with a sack tonight and a tackle for a loss right there.
Well, a couple things I wonder about. One, why did 33 not get the football here when you're down on the 2-yard line and have him slam it in there? And it looked like Pat Barnes almost half pitched the ball rather than just handing it off to Charles Roberts. Boy, it'd be tempting for Paul LaPolice to give it to big 33 down on the goal line. Now he's got to throw the ball.
2nd and goal. Barnes at the Eskimo 11, the touchdown toss. He's got it. Milt Stegall comes up with a key catch, an 11-yard touchdown. His 2nd touchdown of the night.
Pat Barnes looks right to the bench to see if he should go for 2 points.
It's a 10-point game right now, 41-31.
It's exactly what Dave Ritchie has decided. He'll leave the offense on the field. What a catch by Milt Stegall to win the one-on-one battle with Shannon Garrett in the end zone.
Bombers go for 2 again. No one home for Barnes. Still can't find anyone. Another sack. Raheem Abdullah. That's 3 for number 90. Barnes has been decked several times tonight. Stegall with his 2nd touchdown catch here. And it's still a 10-point game. Here's the game story brought to you by Sport Check, Canada's largest sporting goods retailer.
Mike Bradley got things going for the Edmonton Eskimos on the opening play of the football game.
Bombers had some chances on 7 Eskimo turnovers and only picked up 12 points.
Hasn't been a typical Ricky Ray game, but the Edmonton defense has made up for it in a big way with 6 sacks.
However, 3 minutes to go, and the Bombers aren't done yet.
Onside kick team out there. Hands team for Edmonton. They'll kick it deep anyway.
Takes it deep. October has had problems tonight. He's put it on the turf a couple of times. Picking his way out to the 37-yard line and stopped there by Brian Clark.
Well, somehow Ricky Ray has still put up pretty impressive numbers. It hasn't been a typical Ricky Ray game, at least not in the first half.
No, I think he's come on in the 2nd half.
And in the 4th quarter.
And he has answered the Blue Bomber scoring plays.
And at the end of the day, close to 400 yards passing.
The interceptions, 2 total and just 1 touchdown. But he has been, in the 4th quarter in particular, at least the 2nd half, he has moved the Eskimo football team. And he gets another opportunity here.
Well, now what the Edmonton Eskimos would like to do, John, is run the ball, get about 4 or 5 first downs and end this football game. But that's
2 for Pringle there is all he can get. Actually, about 1 yard for Pringle, 2nd and 9.
That's what Danny Machocha would love to do right now, but he's going to be forced to throw it simply because it's easier said than done to run the football against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on defense. They're the #1 team in the league against the run.
So this is 2nd and 8.
Well, Ricky Ray called a timeout. He went to the line of scrimmage. Maurice Kelly, the safety, had walked up to the line. Every single Edmonton defender was up there, and he said, wait a minute. The play I've got called is not going to work against this D. Let's regroup.
Well, and the Eskimos are sitting with a 10-point advantage. 2:24 on the clock.
It's interesting when you talk about the numbers. Ricky Ray probably hasn't played his best football game tonight, but his numbers sure don't show it. Close to 400 yards passing. Last week in a game I thought he played very well, or 2 weeks ago versus Montreal Alouettes in a game that Edmonton won. He didn't have very good numbers, but won a big game.
Definitely the Eskimos' biggest win of the season, a real confidence builder. Pringle again, and Edmonton will have to kick it away. 2 and out.
And this is not a bad decision, though, from Tom Higgins to stay conservative in this situation. I know Matt Dunnigan's probably back there saying, no way, man, you play aggressively from start to finish. He punched the football. The way his defense has played tonight, and in particular that front four on defense, hey, kick it away and put your defense on the field. It's not a bad thing.
2:20 to go in the final quarter. The Eskimos are that far away from clinching top spot in the CFL West, and they lead it by 10. Coming into the game, the Eskimos finished first with a win or a tie. BC second or third in the West. Winnipeg with an opportunity winning tonight and also in the rematch next week could finish in first place, but now the Bombers look to be headed for second, third, or fourth. No, Fleming goes down. It's a little slippery out there, and there's a little opening for Pat Barnes and his Blue Bombers.
And right after the fact, Fleming looks at his shoes like it's their fault. That's like when you drive your opening drive on the first tee box right into the water, and you look at your club.
Yeah, and you say,
hey, what happened there?
How come it only went 22 yards? That's what Fleming is wondering now. And then to finish off the playoff scenario in the West, Saskatchewan can finish second for a home field date, third or fourth. So there's lots to be decided, and still a little to be decided here tonight. Stoddard goes out and makes a heck of a catch.
Really does.
Jamie Stoddard.
That ball was thrown inside. Stoddard was going outside. Somehow he got his body around and made a real tough catch.
17 yards. More importantly, the Bombers move the sticks for another first down. They have to score twice. Pattern here, and Stiegel has another one.
They may need Milt Stiegel for another 1 or 2 before it's over. And
are you talking touchdowns or catches?
Stiegel has finally had a couple of breakout catches. That one down the seam, the big one for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers that have kept them around, and they are still within striking distance because 2 minutes left in the football game is plenty of time, and that's why Dave Ritchie kicked it deep, and I love that decision. Kick it deep, you put your defense on. They got the stop. Edmonton had to punt, and now you have a chance. You need 2 scores, but you have time with 2 minutes to get them both.
Exactly 2 minutes on the stadium clock here at Commonwealth. Some early movement down there on a first down situation. Here's Barnes. And he fired it in a hurry, well out of bounds. Jamie Stoddard, far side, was the intended receiver again. It wasn't close.
Stiegel jumped way offside, then he got back in time. I think Pat Barnes recognized that Stiegel had jumped off, so he stopped his snap count, and then he restarted it. And that may have thrown the whole timing of the play off just a little bit.
2nd and 10, Blue Bombers.
Stiegel starting in the backfield.
Barnes, and the receiver went down, at least one did.
Malcolm Frank thought he was out of bounds. Marcus
They'll
Howell.
call it a catch.
Marcus Howell said he was inbounds, and they're still talking about it.
It's a 9-yard gain if it stands.
Well, it gives
and
the
a
Bombers
closer look
chance.
is required.
Right on the sideline. There's the catch. I think he did get a foot in. Let's take one. That was close.
Was he forced out by the defender?
Well, it also looked like he dragged the toe.
It's no catch.
Well, it's saying no. One more time here. Let's take a look. Now he has the ball right now. I don't know. Looked like he had his toe down. Or was his toe in the air? Just close to the ground.
They rule it no catch. So here are the Bombers down to 3rd and 10.
One more time. Look at, there's the ball in his hands. There's his feet inbounds. That looks like a catch.
And they'll settle for 3. What might have been had Westwood hit 2 earlier misses.
Oh.
And he's knuckled another one. Winston October will gratefully give up points here, or give up the single here.
Oh, yeah.
He'll take some time off the clock.
The way he's had struggles with the football, I would go down on a knee before any contact made.
So Westwood has had a tough night. Actually fell on one on the slippery turf here at Commonwealth.
Well, and that's a longer kick. Even if, let's say, okay, Winnipeg on that Marcus Howell out there, let's say they don't get the first down, but they get that 9 yards.
And that makes
that's
this
an
a little
easier
more
kick
makeable
for Troy Westwood. You know, it takes. Let's take one more look. Now he has the ball right now. Okay, we'll say right now in his possession, and that toe is down inbounds. You only need 1 foot, and I know it's a tough call to make, and it happens very quickly on that sideline, but that looked like a catch to me.
Here's Pringle, broke a tackle, and he'll have at least 10. Maurice Kelly, the stop. Well, what might have been for the Blue Bombers on this night at Commonwealth. Winnipeg has not had great fortune in this stadium. The Eskimos have won twice as many games against Blue Bomber teams here. 16 wins for Edmonton in head-to-head matchups, 8 for the Bombers.
But I'll tell you something, Winnipeg Blue Bombers have played so much better this week than they did last in the win versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Lots more intensity in this one from the Bombers on both sides of the ball, and I think you have to give Pat Barnes credit for a gutsy performance coming in relief and getting his first start in the Bombers' most important game of the season. He wasn't able to get it done every time he had his hands on the ball, but Barnes did move the Blue Bombers a time or two and put 32 points on the board.
Yeah, and those are pretty good numbers. 242, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Yeah.
And that's the key one. You know, when you don't have a lot of playing time, the quarterback will often come in, try and force things, and have a few picks. Barnes didn't have one, and that's positive for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
This is 2nd down. And it's getting close to gladiator time. That's Mike Pringle carrying there. Terry Ray made the stop.
I tell you what, I was leaning big time to Mike Bradley, who had a great start. But Raheem Abdullah just kept making play after play after play. He had 3 sacks on the game, but it wasn't the sacks. It was the play away from the fact. It was the hustle. It was the domination, and it was that hit that sold it for me. Raheem Abdullah is the gladiator tonight.
He doesn't know that he is a Glenn's gladiator yet.
Not yet, but I've talked to some of the players now, and this year they've started to bet on who will pick as the gladiator when they're watching the game from home. So
I've got 6 for 66, the code.
6 sacks by the Eskimos and 3.
Run that ball, baby.
Well, John, with all the turnovers, how many times have you heard a coach say, hey, if we turn the ball over 7 times, we're not going to win the football game? They say it all the time. Well, the Eskimos did turn the ball over 7 times, and they still are going to go on and win this football game, and it was because of their defense. It was because every time they turned the football over, that defense rose up, made the big stop they needed, forced the long field goal, which Westwood had problems with, and came up for their team.
And looking at it, Westwood good on just 3 of 6, so he's turned it right back to the Eskimos in the sense of the opportunities that he missed.
Time count violation.
21 seconds remaining. And the Edmonton Eskimos will finish first in the CFL West. The rest of the playoff situations still to be determined. We know the Bombers are in, we know the Lions are in, and we know the Rough Riders are in.
You want to talk about consistency? third straight year the Edmonton Eskimos will host the Western Final.
Well, and talk about consistency when you look at this Eskimo franchise. 32 years in the playoffs. That is a North American professional sports record that the Eskimos keep adding to. 25th anniversary of this great stadium. The Eskimos have averaged 40,000 fans a game this year. 8,182,227 customers have been here to watch Eskimo football in the regular season. They have 45,154 here for this clincher for Edmonton tonight. And Charles Roberts has had a frustrating evening. I mean, he is the Bombers' most outstanding player, and he was unable to get untracked in this one tonight.
And I think when you put him back in that Winnipeg Stadium, you put him back there on the artificial turf, although it's the new type, which is more like natural grass, but you put him back there, and he'll have a big game next week, and he'll be fine during the playoffs. I mean, he has struggled, no question, Commonwealth, but I can count, let's see, 8 other teams that have struggled here at Commonwealth. The only one I take out of there is the Montreal Alouettes, who came in here and won a game.
Ricky Ray has only lost 2 games in this stadium since becoming the Eskimo starter. Both to the Montreal Alouettes, the Grey Cup last year in the first game of this season. Marcus Howell making the catch with 10 seconds to go.
The good news for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and their fans is that they played a better football game tonight than they did a week ago. Pat Barnes got some valuable reps and playing time in this game with Kahari Jones able to watch on the sideline. He will come back next week and be ready for the playoff run. But the reps for Pat Barnes were huge, just in case Kahari has some problems in a game now. They can go to Pat Barnes with more confidence.
Here's Barnes. 3 seconds on the clock. Into the end zone. Who's got it? It's on the turf. Quincy Coleman covering on Reggie Jones. And there you go. Tom Higgins has the Eskimos in first place in the CFL West for the 2nd straight year. That's 8 straight on home turf. And Dave Ritchie and the Blue Bombers will not be able to clinch a spot that they know of as far as the playoffs are concerned. It could be 2nd, 3rd, or 4th.
They're in a dogfight for a home playoff game now.
Higgins and the Eskimos, 41-32 winners at Commonwealth.